Warning, the following podcast features offensive material discussed either by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, the offenders must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any of the material you hear on this show, or we will sue your ass for copyright infringement. Love the offenders.
You're the comic relief.
Oh,
Imagine that.
Because we're not funny guys.
Okay, we're starting off a little different this time because we're trying a new format. We've got 4 people sitting in my house. Welcome to the Offenders Podcast. I don't think I even need to say that anymore. But my name's Evan, and we have 2 guests with us. Okay, we have Shane with us as always, and then we have 2 other people who have names who need to say them. I'm going to point at you, and then you say your name and not stare back at me.
Well, I was just thrown off that you didn't mention Shane first, you asshole.
I'm Evan, and we got 2 guys. And there's some other fucker here, but he doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, he matters, and you'll find out why very soon. And on the other side of the fucking house is
Clay Moore, also known as Anthony Clemson.
who is a very hateful man who loves football, but only shows up when Clay drinks Pib Extra or 4 Dr. Peppers.
Gotta be 4.
Clay plays guitar in the band that I'm in, Another Day Above Ground. He plays bass in Grinch Finger. And Mondo, of course, you all remember. You're actually highly touted as very entertaining by a few of our listeners. So you have some fans.
Wow, fuck those guys. What the fuck's going on in their life?
But the reason that we're all here today is because myself, Mondo, Bruiser. What am I supposed to call you?
Just call me Mondo.
Mondo, okay. Me, Mondo, and Clay took a trip to Dallas, Tejas for WrestleMania weekend because we wanted to catch a couple of things down there. First and foremost being a chance to meet the great Muta, which is my number 1 favorite wrestler of all time. And they had a convention down there called WrestleCon. Yeah, WrestleCon. Where you could meet a number of wrestlers, and they had a lot of independent different events going on. I think it was Shimmer, Evolve, Kaiju Big Battle, Ring of Honor, CZW. Anybody else?
I think that's about it. I'm sure there was some like small local stuff going on too that we weren't aware of.
But basically, it's like WrestleCon is just a wrestling-based convention, and basically, it's like kind of like the what do they call it? The Walk of Fame at Dragon Con, where you pay money for pictures or autographs or whatever with all these wrestlers. But they had different events going on, and it was that was the main reason that we went, and then we wanted to see some other stuff, but it ended up getting sold out. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But the reason that Shane is so important is because Shane's mutant power. Shane is a mutant.
I see.
This is the thing. Shane magically has the ability to say the absolute perfect thing that you will never think of until you tell him what you did, and then he'd be like, "Oh, well, you should have said," and you're like, "Fuck, why didn't I say that?"
Now I won't be able to do it. Thanks for hyping it up.
Exactly.
This will be the one time.
So you have to ascend to the next level, so I have to make you nervous so that you're on point.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm. But so it took. How long did it take us to drive from Macon to Texas? First off,
13 hours.
About 13 hours, but we did stop for like an hour and a half, and a couple of other times we stopped for like 30 or 45 minutes. So
yeah, and while we're talking about driving, I just wanted to mention a couple of things, some road games that we played.
Road Rash?
I wish.
Telling everybody.
Or Skitchin', wee! Remember that fucking shit on Genesis? Rollerblading. Anyway, so we came up with a couple of games. We did I don't know what the name of it is. Is the alphabet game?
Yeah, the alphabet game.
Alphabet game. At first, we were doing the last names of wrestlers, where you start with whatever you want, like any wrestler you want, and then the last letter of the last name has to be the first letter of the last name of the next wrestler, right?
Yeah.
And then after we ran out of letters on that one, because all of them were like M and S and N, I think, we were like, well, fuck it, let's just try and do some with the first name. And then we did that for a while, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. We did, let's see, what else did we play? We played the story game, which it went downhill quick.
Yeah, it was bad.
It just ended up being like a 20-minute gay joke, pretty much.
Pretty much. Huge.
Yeah.
What the hell is the story game?
You start telling a story, and then you find a stopping point, and you pass it to your friend to continue.
Oh.
And more likely than not, it goes in completely different directions. With us, it was like it started out. I'm trying to remember now. It started out about. What was it?
Well, Clay starts talking about one thing, and I connect to what Clay's talking about. Then I hand it off to you. You start telling a completely different story altogether.
It was like out there. I was like, holy shit. And then Geraldo showed up.
Yeah, then Geraldo showed up. And this biker named Skullfuck shows up, who coincidentally was kin to the person that threw a chair and hit Geraldo Rivera in the nose back in the 90s.
And also, one of the most meta things I've ever seen was Mondo doing an impression of somebody doing an impression of Mondo,
It was great.
which was outstanding. But anyway, so you should definitely try that if you ever have a nice long road trip. But one of my high points of this journey was making it to the world famous Whataburger. Because boy, let me tell you, if you've never had a Whataburger, first off, I'm sorry about your damn luck. Because a Whataburger is like the size of a Whopper, but it's that's the regular burger. You don't ask for a large burger. You just get the fucking large burger automatically. But to me, the best thing about it is spicy ketchup. You get these little like it's kind of like set up like a diner. Like the people there, like wait staff, like they bring you this kind of like at Sonic. They walk up with that tray and it's got like pickles and fucking ketchup and onions and forks and peppermints and shit all like that on there. So they just walk up and they have this tray and they're like, "Would you like this?" And I just wanted all the spicy ketchup, and I ended up drinking one because it was delicious. And oh man, it's so good. We stopped there. I think it was Vicksburg,
Mississippi.
Yeah,
About 30 minutes away from the Mississippi River, the mighty Mississippi River.
yeah.
Old Barn River.
That's a big fucking bridge, by the way. That is a big ass bridge to cross over. And so we did that. We stopped there. We had also planned, because Clay is a man who has a very unique skill set, so we decided to stop by Horseshoe.
That was where Jason was at, yeah. Or that's where he had mentioned to go by there.
Yeah, bring us up to speed on that, about how we bumped into him.
Well, it was weird, man. You know, we're riding down the road, and Evan gets this call, and it happens to be none other than Jason Moss, also known as Jason Virus, for you noobs out there. And he tells us this crazy fucking story. Somehow, he's went halfway across the country to do what most of us can do in our own town, and that's get fucked by a car dealer. Long story short, yeah. So he's riding, like, he goes and gets this car, and, you know, he makes it about, I guess, halfway to Shreveport from Dallas. You know, that's a good amount of ways. And the car starts fucking up. So he says he goes back and gets caught in this fucking tornado and all this. And I can just imagine him, like, right now, like, yeah, that's a tornado over there. Holy shit, it's coming right for us. But all this happens. Long story short, he happens to be in Shreveport, where we've already talked about stopping. And Jason, for a lot of y'all that don't know it, could be a professional gambler. Could be, because he told us that he started off with a very minuscule amount of money, because the bank could cut his card off like they're supposed to do. And when you're out of state and you don't tell them. So he's made all this money. Long story short is, we end up meeting up with him.
Hold on 1 second. I've got to mention something very important from that storm. So he tells us that he's riding with like this South African dude in like this van pool full of people from this car dealership. They're all together. So they're driving and everything's good. And the guy's driving like an asshole, because over there's no speed limits. There's no nothing. So he's just driving all fucking crazy. And then all of a sudden they see the tornado coming up the horizon. and nobody's paying attention to it. And Jason's just like, as Clay mentioned, yeah, there's a tornado over there, and yeah. Jason always turns into like a 1930s gangster when we do his voice. I got a gun, see?
He's like nonchalant, but like as a matter of fact, though, he's just like, hey, yeah, here goes a tornado. You want to see a tornado?
Yeah.
All calm about it.
Yeah. So nobody notices it until it's too late and it's crossing the fucking highway, and every car on the highway starts reversing full speed, like almost killing everybody trying to avoid being killed, which is hilarious.
Yes.
And then they couldn't find shelter anywhere else except for this weird old warehouse of rodeo cow, like those plastic rodeo cows and sheep and shit. They had a whole fucking warehouse full of like fake farm animals that was owned by a Pakistani man.
That was a very confusing scenario.
Yeah.
It was a weird
He was like, yes, these cows, and they're like not real, and they're for like rodeos, and I'm like thinking they're like mechanical bulls or something.
Yeah.
But I guess they're like decoys
like
or some
props.
shit.
I guess I guess people practice their cow roping on them.
No, exactly. Kind of like those archery, like those fake deers and shit you shoot at.
And it's so funny because as we're telling this story, I realize how this sounds like a setup for a movie, because it's like, those are some very precise details that are made to sound nonsensical. But this actually happened in real life. It's like, South African driver, Pakistani fake farm animal, warehouse owner. You know, it's just like all this crazy shit. But then, back to the Clay side of the story, after all that shit happened, we got to the horseshoe and
when we go in and he isn't there yet.
It smelled fresh as hell in there.
It did.
It was
man.
like the
smelled
cleanest.
It smelled really good.
See, Evan and Clay will tell you how great it smelled in there, but to me, it smelled like fucking ice blue aqua velva.
Oh man!
Because it was filled with people for
Biker gang.
Yeah, well, there was a biker gang having this
Hell
little
yeah.
convention. It was the HOG, the Harley Owners Group. They were all having their little thing, but everybody else that was gambling in there were males between the ages of 49 and like 70. So that's why it smelled so refreshing. Because it was like the cross between ice blue aqua velva and freaking Gillette underarm deodorant.
And Fabuloso. That's what I smelled.
Fabuloso.
Yeah, it's a fantastic cleaner. That's what made me so happy.
It was crazy though, because it just like hit you in the face.
It was
Yeah.
just like boom.
It's like, it smells like there's no diseases in here, although I'm not fooled.
I'm not fooled either. There was plenty of disease.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
So we all go in this place, and Mondo and Evan's never been into a casino, and by my standards, this was a very small casino.
Shit.
It was small as fuck. They did have this cool thing, $1 million wall. So we go in there, and I have this set. I'm only gonna lose $40. Well, that's bullshit. Because that 40 turned into 80 real fucking quick. But I look around, and I didn't realize it, but both Evan and Mondo just got this confused fucking look on their face. I didn't realize how much it was for them to take in, because, this kind of shit to me, like, I've, been to Vegas and stuff like that, and that was a very small casino. It was 3 floors. I didn't know it was 3 floors until we were leaving, fucking assholes.
We looked like feral children that just show up in the middle of New York. We're like, lights.
It took me back to like when I was a kid, and I was like, man, if I touch my pecker enough, someone will pop out and it'll make me feel good. The exact same thing with playing a slot machine.
Yeah.
I learned that it takes you a little work to get the achievement you want.
You can say that again. God damn.
I was freaking the fuck out, man. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's so overwhelming. There's no windows. There's people running around screaming. There's lights everywhere. There's noises. It's like being a wolf and just being dropped in a subway. You're like, I don't know what to do.
It's
alcohol.
like there's 50 girls and 50 girls want to fuck you, and you're like, oh my god, where do I start? What do I do?
Yeah.
And fucking Clay Moore is just like fucking Mr. Slick Shoes over
This
there.
This is nothing new from real life, by the way.
Yeah, dude, he's just this is how you do it, man. I'm like, what do I do? I put the quarter right here. I do this and this. He's like, just do this, man. This is all calm.
He's sitting there with his fucking cigarette hanging out of his mouth while he's talking to us. He's just like, God damn it, fucking piece of shit. And
got a cigarette in his hand. We got the cigarette over the ashtray.
Yeah.
Like serious business on a movie or something.
staring intently at the screen.
All he needed was a cocktail.
And I was this close to ordering a cocktail. That one lady came by with some Jack and Colas, or like maybe it probably wasn't cola. It was
Whiskey
probably
Cola.
Coke or Pepsi.
Yeah.
And they come by and like, I just knew that it wasn't a good idea to just have one drink. I'm not a one drink kind of guy. Fuck that shit. If I'm drinking, I ain't drinking for the taste. I'm drinking to get drunk. So that was like, no. But $80 later, and y'all could have fucking seen smoke coming from my goddamn shoes. I was like, get the fuck out of there. And yeah, that was a casino experience.
And well, I forgot to mention how much I lost. I might have gone a little bit overboard, and I was like, well, these are penny slot machines. This shouldn't be too bad. Well, I ended up spending $2.30, and boy, it hurt.
I got for about $5.
Yeah.
After that, I'm like, dude, just get me out of here, man.
Again, $80.
Oh, I need to be in a more comfortable situation. Hey, let's hurry up and get to Dallas so we can see half-naked dudes in their panties hugging each other. I feel more comfortable then.
You know what's funny? I think Mondo and myself might be the most successful visit to a casino ever, because we only lost less than $10 the first time we went there.
On some things, I learned pretty quick. Like getting married, I haven't learned yet. The fucking gambling, yeah. If you lose once, don't try to lose again.
Yeah,
They're designed to take your money. If it was like the free crack giveaway on Chappelle's show, like except for with like free money, like you wouldn't be able to beat motherfuckers out the door. But yeah, that was casino, and okay, so I lose $80. It's whatever. So we get back on the road, and let me tell y'all, man, Texas is a boring fucking state.
I don't know if boring is the right word for it. There's spots where there's nothing. There's spots where there's nothing. But onto one of the main points I wanted to drive home here. Dallas is a planet in and of itself.
Yeah.
Baddest planet on Earth.
There's a lot of cool things to do there. It looks really cool, but it is entirely inhabited by dickholes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And me and Mondo ran into this experience right off the bat. And here comes round 2 of story time. You want to take this one, Mondo? Or, well, you know.
All right, so I have never, up until this point in my life, I have never been to Texas. So I have it in my adolescent mind that I want to go to Texas. I want to drink Lone Star beer. I want to, I want to eat barbecue because apparently Texas has got the barbecue, bro.
Shout out to Michael Hawkins, Blake Manning.
Shout out, Lucky Hawk.
777.
Check out his podcast, iRake. I think it's iRake Podcast.
Yeah, iRake
Yeah,
podcast.
it's wrestling podcast.
But so we're just talking about, and me and unlike Mr. Jones, respectively, me and Mr. Moore, we like to abide a little bit in the bitters. We like to hang out and drink and stuff like that. So the whole time, I'm like, man, we're going to Texas. We need to get some fucking Lone Stars. Well, because of we left at like 9 o'clock our time, and we wound up getting Texas is an hour behind us, so we wound up getting to our hotel at like 11:35, and we get settled and shit. So we're like, we need to find somewhere. We went to this fucking 7-Eleven. And the dude was a fucking space cadet out of this freaking world.
I think he
I'm
just
like,
gave him
hey,
a bullet. He killed himself.
Yeah, I went up to the like beer cooler or whatever, and I saw these all like generic beers, and I saw Shinerbach, which is another Texas beer.
Good
so I
stuff.
went up to the counter and was like, "Hey man, do you guys have Lone Star beer?" He's like, "Lone Star beer?" I'm like, "Yeah, the national beer of Texas, man." And he's like, "Well, that's kind of a rare beer," and I'm like, well, where would you get it at? And he's like, I don't know, it's kind of a rare beer. And I'm just like thinking, well, shit, if anybody's going to have any Lone Stars, it's probably going to be Walmart. So we ride down the road to Walmart. Me and Clay get out of my car, and we're parked next to this fucking tree. And right next to where we parked, there was this tree filled with fucking birds, just fucking yapping their fucking faces off.
It was weird too. They're like,
but they're fucking making all this fucking noise, and it's like 11:30 at freaking night. It's dark as fuck, and these like birds are just going freaking crazy. And me and Clay look at each other like we're like in some kind of fucking horror movie, and fucking Leatherface is gonna jump out and fucking kill us.
This was a big fucking Walmart, by the way.
It was the biggest fucking place I've ever been in my life.
well, it is Texas.
And I didn't even like go to the other side. I went straight to the beer.
I had to go to the other side because the bathroom up front was closed, and about 2 steps into my journey, my foot fucks up. And like I'm limping like a son of a bitch. Like I look like I am doing the best pimp you've ever seen in your life, man.
Gangsta lean.
Like I'm getting it through the store, man. But that was one big fucking Walmart.
Fucking huge. And I walk in and I go straight to the freaking beer. I see they have copious amounts of Lone Stars, and we try to figure out how much beer we want to get, because for some reason in my mind it didn't connect to me that the hotel room might have a refrigerator, so I was just going to get enough beer for the night so the beer wouldn't get hot. So anyway, we get like our beer, we get like snacks or whatever, and we go up. And man, there was like one cashier open with like 20 freaking people, and they had like the self-service registers. So we went to that one line, and we stayed there for a fucking hour. And we're like, well, fuck, there's not a lot of people over there at the fucking the self-ring. So we went over there, man, and we waited over there for like another fucking 15 minutes or
It was a
whatever.
good amount of time.
And they didn't know what the fuck was going on. So we finally get there. I fucking ring my beer up, and right when I try to ring it, it says, item prohibited for sale. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So I turn around, and this little lady that was like a little attendant, she walks up and didn't say anything at all. She just grabs a beer, and she's like, it's after 12 o'clock. You can't buy this now.
Not today.
Not today.
And I was like, man, well, shit. When we got in the line, I swear it was like 11:55, and now it's like 10 minutes after fucking 12. We can't.
It was
buy
like 12:25 by the time we got through waiting in those stupid.
We
fucking
waited for
lines.
fucking ever, so that conquest got fucked up.
Bullshit.
So we just couldn't get any beer anywhere. So we just went back to the hotel or whatever and did whatever.
I really wanted a beer too.
Yeah, it would have been nice after a long day.
It's so funny because they're like, as soon as we got there, we checked in. They're like, yeah, let's go get some beer. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go get some sleep. And I went right the fuck to sleep in like 2 seconds. I think I posted one picture on Instagram, and I went to sleep immediately after that.
Yeah.
No, that's not right, because you guys played the Mick Foley thing with Stone Cold.
Oh, yeah, the podcast. We watched that.
And
That was the next night that you went directly to sleep.
That was the next night?
Yeah, after NXT.
That's right. So that was the end of that night. We got there Thursday night. Everything was good. And then Friday morning, we wake up, and how did that start out?
We woke up, and we went down the road.
Got lost
because of my dumb ass. And I put the coordinates in the GPS, but it sent us to fucking Nowhereville.
Yeah, we were going to Starbucks. That's right.
Yeah.
We ended up at a goddamn farm.
Yeah, we were on a fucking ranch.
Hold up. Let me tell you guys something. Every house that I saw in Texas had an iron rot fence in the goddamn yard. You know what that means? If you walk past this fence, we're going to shoot you to death.
They're going to give you another asshole.
They will shoot you to death. Like, I had heard stories about that, but I didn't believe it. And I walked in. It's like they live in fucking Compton. There was just iron rot fences everywhere.
But it wasn't Compton. It was Mesquite.
Mesquite, Texas. And that's like a story unto itself, too, because I just thought that Texas was going to be the most grandest place in the world. It's technically part of the South. And
Terry Funk would be hanging out with us.
Yeah, but it was the total opposite, man.
It sucked.
Dummies and fucking idiots.
Yeah. And dweebs and geeks
which
and weirdos.
are totally different. Dummies and idiots are totally different. Weenies.
Yep.
Neo Maxi Zoom dweebies.
Pencil neck geeks.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, so we wound up going to Starbucks upon Mr. Jones' request. We get coffee, and everybody there was fucking assholes too.
That pissed me off, man. I have never been that mad at white people in Starbucks in my whole fucking life.
Clay became an angry militant black man as soon as he walked into Starbucks.
I walked in and
Man,
walked right
fuck
back
this
out
shit.
and needed a cigarette.
And it was, I'll tell you, it was true. We were standing in there and people were bumping into us. Like, you'd hold the door open for people. They wouldn't say shit. They would just walk past you. They'd close the door on you. The only one person that was nice in the whole fucking Starbucks was from Florida.
Imagine that.
Yeah, man.
A fucking asshole Floridian was being nice in Texas.
He was like, hey, and he was like, trust me, it's a different world.
Yeah. We didn't believe him immediately, but we were starting to learn real
found out
fast.
soon enough.
But he was cool. He was like an airline pilot. He used to be in the Air Force. He loved Iron Maiden and stuff, and like he just worked there helped out a lot with the floods. And then so we got our coffee. Clay got his anger and cigarettes. That was his breakfast, was anger and cigarettes.
And then I got another pib, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Texas got the pib, bro. I drank the shit out of that, man, and that was good.
More about what happens when Clay gets pib later. So after that, we headed out to Arlington, right?
Yeah, Arlington.
So we get down there because we wanted to go visit Dimebag Darrell's grave in Arlington, Texas.
Dizzle bizzles.
Because Arlington, Fort Worth, and Dallas are kind of like Buckhead, DeKalb, and all that stuff in Atlanta, but way bigger, right?
3,000 times the size, I swear to God.
But it's all kind of like considered one area loosely. So we get down there, and Arlington was pretty nice. That cemetery was fucking amazing.
They also had a Six Flags right down the road.
They did. Yeah, so we get down there, and side note. For those of you who are fans of Pantera, here's something to ponder. For the longest time, when I heard the song Hellbound, after the chorus, there's a part where you hear, Hellbound, my whole life, I thought he was saying footwork, because Phil Anselmo's a boxer, right? But then I learned he says Fort Worth.
No.
Because they're from Texas.
Yup.
So there you go. There's your trivia for the fucking hot wing night down at Buffalo's.
Well,
Anyway,
that explains everything then. That's where that song, isn't Pantera the one with the respect walk?
yeah.
Well, that's why they're there. They're holding up, respect, walk, get out of my fucking way. They just go right to where the fuck. They just writing a song about Texas.
Yeah.
So we get down there, and it was a really nice cemetery. He had there's a I think I'll put some pictures up on the Facebook for our page, but we took some pictures by his grave. There's like a memorial type plaque, and it had like lots of money and guitar picks and stuff on it. And then there was like the actual headstone, and his mom's headstone was there, which was really sweet. So we got down there, and we were just kind of hanging out, and then we walked around, and so we start walking around just noticing it, and then they start making puns about dead people's names. Not me. I'm like, no, I'm not making fun of dead people in a fucking cemetery.
Oh, well, it got me back right pretty
I got
fucking
Clay
immediately.
so good. I was like, hey, well, first off, when we were going through Texas, or when we were going through Alabama and Louisiana, there was a fucking tornado watch, right? So when I go to, I think it was Whataburger, my order number was 666. I was like,
No, that was QT.
the QT. So I was like, hey, Clay, look at this. He's like, man, you don't need to be showing me that when we're about to go on a fucking trip. He's getting all scared. So with that in mind, he was already a little unnerved. And when we get in the car to leave, we noticed that the tombstone directly next to our car says more, which is Clay. No, it said Clay.
No, it said Clay.
It said Clay. I was like, hey, Clay, look, it's your tombstone. And he was like, and he got real quiet and angry. And I was like, because I'm a little asshole.
What was it that said more?
There was something else that said on the way out.
Yeah.
Now keep it. No, this is what I said was really ironic. It was the tombstone that said Clay, and the name of the cemetery was Memorial Cemetery.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck me sideways. Like, I enough of to go into a fucking cemetery that's named after probably some like small area of my kinship. That's how I ended up in Texas. But yeah, there's a gravestone, and this was why I thought it was even more ironic, because I saw a headstone that said Bohannon, and we have a friend whose name is Ryan Bohannon.
Who just moved to Texas.
And I said, see, I told you he came to Texas.
Please don't be dead, Ryan.
Now, see, you guys were lucky. It was not a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because you were making puns, so the fucking cemetery started making them back.
Yeah.
Good point.
What else you got, boys? I got lots of headstones here.
Right.
I was just ready to get the fuck out of there. I was like, because it was April Fool's, I thought it was cool that we visited him because he always played pranks on people. Like, some of the stuff that Dimebag Darrell did, if you're not a huge metal fan, was like, he would just take ungodly amounts of money and dare people to do stupid shit. It's like, hey, here's some Tabasco sauce. I'll give you $300 if you drink the whole bottle. Right? I think that was one of them. What were some of the other things he did?
He had a lot of different ones, man. I mean, it's hard to really delve into because I don't really... If you really want to see him, go find the vulgar display of video.
Yeah. He made a lot of really good jokes. He was a great dude. It was one of those weird things where he's like somebody that everybody liked and just some nut job went crazy and fucking shot him, which was real sad.
But a side note, if you're from South Korean descent and you're wondering a nice place in the South for you to rest your head and have a burial, go to Moore's National Cemetery because every Nguyen that ever lived...
That's Vietnamese!
Did I say Korean?
South Korean.
Same thing. Same thing.
They're connected.
Yeah,
eventually.
they're Asian. But anyway, every Nguyen in the world...
Yeah, there was a lot of Nguyen's there.
Nguyen's, yeah.
Or wins, or however the fuck you
Well,
say
they
it.
had a lot. Somebody must have just like went ape shit on their family.
Yeah, for real. So we get out of there, and what did we do after that? We went to... Okay, so here's another thing that's funny. Mesquite Barbecue is from Mesquite, Texas, right? Yeah. So you figure you arrive there, it's going to be the fucking gimmick town of Mesquite.
Capital.
There's just going to be barbecue here, barbecue there, fucking signs everywhere.
Wrong.
Nope. There was like one national like brand, like the Dairy Queen of barbecue called Dickies, that you can get in any town in fucking Wyoming. And then like... So we're looking around and there's like no barbecue places. So we're like, why would we stay in fucking Mesquite if we can't get Mesquite barbecue?
I mean, Dickey's Barbecue originated in Mesquite, Texas. And the location they were telling us about was the original first Dickey's Barbecue. Mm-hmm. But why do you want to fucking like, hey, we're in Texas, let's eat at McDonald's when you can get McDonald's down the street in Macon? So we wanted to get something a little bit more authentic and a little bit more like brag worthy or whatever.
Tejas.
But so then after that we went to this place called was it Nora's or Norma's?
Yeah, the diner.
Yeah, that's in kind of like in the downtown Dallas. Yeah, Dallas. Do what?
It was ran by Miss Bates.
Miss Bates, yeah. But yeah, we went there, and it's just like a greasy spoon diner type place. And another thing I wanted to get while I was in Dallas, Texas, because you hear so much about it, was chicken fried steak. So they had chicken fried steak there, so I got some. It was pretty rad. I enjoyed it.
I got the steak fingers, and they were the shit, dude. Like, it was these big, like, just pieces of like cube steak, thick battered with like this big bowl of gravy, man gravy.
And it wasn't these wimpy steak fingers you would see on like a Golden Corral breakfast buffet. It was the size of a fucking chicken finger.
Yeah, it was
like
huge.
A big chunky chicken finger, but it was fucking steak fingers.
Hey,
And Grandpa Jones over here he got pot roast.
Because I was like, okay, Mondo's very specific about getting the country fried steak when we get to Texas, so I have to get something that's fitting. I can't get a fucking hamburger. I can get that anywhere. Fuck, what do I get? I don't know. I eat 7 things. I eat Indian food and pizza and cookies. What do I eat? Fuck.
I thought you were totally going to go for like a double cheeseburger or something.
The burgers were big, man.
Yeah, they're huge.
Then I was like, is it acceptable to eat pot roast in Texas? I was like, genuinely asking.
What did you think?
Me and Mondo gave each other this look that was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Some people gonna show up to the table. You eating pot roast in here, boy?
Yeah, like they just kick the door down, cowboys show
I
up.
was just like, I can't wait until the waitress asks what he wants for dessert. He's going to be like, yeah, do you have the tapioca pudding to go with this?
I'm actually from Florida.
Yeah.
I want to eat the most wonderful foods.
But it was good.
It was good. We ate there. That was a really cool place too. We'll probably harp upon the fact that there was a lot of assholes in Texas, but those guys were really
nice.
They were really nice.
Genuine
and at the bottom of their receipt it said "Have an awesome day."
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
that was great.
And the server that our waitress was not too bad looking either, so that ruled.
She was pretty hot.
Yeah.
She had a Marvel like waitress thing where she kept all of her pennies and pins and fucking silverware in it.
Well, she was definitely a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I know that's not a Marvel character. So, whatever. But But yeah, then after that, we start heading downtown to see what's going on with some WWE Access.
Yeah, and like this part was cool because like we got there, we got parked, we walked up, and there's the old Texas stereotype. There's two things in Texas: steers and queers, right?
And boy, you ain't got no horns.
And as soon as we walk out the fucking parking lot, 20 steers. There's like
in the streets of Texas.
There's this giant fucking park full of bulls. And they're like these giant iron cast statues or bronze or something.
It's like a memorial for somebody.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
Yeah. So we get down there and we're walking around. We take some funny pictures, and so everything's good. And we get in there and we're like, okay, let's go in. Let's go ahead and buy our passes because we're gonna go. Because we wanted to go. I wanted to go both days because my number two reason for this trip was to meet Becky Lynch on Saturday. So we decided we were gonna go that day because,
What's that?
Mondo had a very specific person he wanted to meet. And so we were like, okay, we're gonna go Friday too because he can get that stuff signed.
Originally, I didn't want to go, but the selling point was the fact that Paulie Dangerously, aka the advocate for Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, was going to be there doing a signing. But this is the first time I've been to many like signings and conventions, but this is the first time I went to a WWE Access. So I wasn't really prepared of how they like handled things. So I originally wasn't sold on the idea, but I have this awesome magazine. It's a for you wrestling nerds out there. I had an Inside Wrestling magazine, and the cover was based on the Midnight Express versus the original Midnight Express feud, and it's got all the guys on there, and I have it signed by Ravishing Randy Rhodes, Beautiful Bobby Eaton, Loverboy Dennis Connery, even Jim Cornette. The only two signatures I do not have are Sweet Stan Lane, because I never can like run up on him, and Paul Heyman, because I've never been any place ever with him being there. So I'm like, well, it'll be a good trade-off. I can take in everything there is, about NXT. Then I also can meet Paul Heyman and finally get this, this signature or whatever. So we buy the tickets. As soon as we walk in, I see one of my wrestling convention buddies. His name is Nate Lawson, a.k.a. Nate the Great. He has been on... He's definitely is not as pay-per-view savvy as Vladimir the Superfan, which I'll probably be talking about later. But he's definitely been on a lot of pay-per-views on the front row. So if you ever see a guy that looks like a smaller version of The Rock with like a short fade hairdo and a little mustache, that's Nate the Great. Well, we see him, we start talking about stuff. He lives in Dallas, so we're asking him about restaurants and bars and things of that nature. Well, then we go go wait in line for to get in there for probably 2 hours.
And also, I got to make a point on
An
this.
hour.
While we're standing in line, they have all these giant big screen TVs set up, and they're showing WWE stuff. And they did the 24-hour Daniel Bryan thing, which was awesome because I've been wanting to see that forever, and I didn't get a chance to. So we're standing in line. That's a great fucking documentary, by the way. It's the last day before he has to retire, right?
Yeah, it was leading up to the night that he retired,
and it's so funny.
Raw.
Because, we're all standing in line and we're all, yeah, WrestleMania, this is going to be fucking great. Yeah, it's going to be fights and blood and death. So we're just standing there. Yeah.
And fights.
Fights and blood and death and killing and gore, brother. So we're just yeah. And then it starts getting all emotional. He's like, I did everything in my life to get here and it's taken away. And, his wife is being so loving and supportive of him. And, he's got this great speech that he gives at the end. And, I look around and I'm just like, everybody is all of a sudden has allergy problems. I was like, man, they can get the black mold out of this place. And Mono's like, yeah, man. So that was a cool thing because most of the time when you're standing in line, it's 15 different, Prevacid commercials or if you've had vaginal mesh implants, you may have to contact the law offices, and it's got the creepy keyboard music in the back. Yeah. So that was a benefit of waiting in line. Okay, go ahead.
Another thing I noticed too, because it was WrestleMania, but I just did some tallying on my calculator. So everywhere you look, and of course everybody's wearing wrestling t-shirts. Mm-hmm. But everywhere you looked, you saw a WrestleMania T-shirt. So think about this: if like 300 people bought one of these shirts for $35 a pop, just for that, man, that's almost $11,000 for freaking T-shirts. Yeah. And they had a mega store here, and people were buying shit hand over. It was like $30 to $35. Yeah, it was like $30 to $35 for a T-shirt, and they're just getting gobs and gobs of this fucking shit, man. And
we're talking about Kohl's bags.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, I got this fucking Visa gift card in my back pocket with $100 on it, fucking trying not to burn a hole on myself.
You can get a T-shirt and like a napkin.
Yeah. Instead, I looked at a T-shirt and got the hell on.
Yeah, right.
And that costs $5.
But
just to look, to smell the air is $3.
But yeah, so we hang out in the line for about like an hour or so. Claymore only took like one smoke break.
Which I smoked in the bathroom because I wasn't going the fuck back outside.
So we walk. Like, we finally get in. They do a bag check and stuff, and you walk in, and this is like all these freaking like displays. The Hell in the Cell was set up. There's a little museum, like ring warm costumes and shit like that.
That was really cool.
That was cool.
They had like the new Dusty Rhodes statue that they previewed the day before, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna try to figure out where the fuck Paul Heyman is. So we're walking around, and a couple of lines. They had like a photo op session, and they had like autograph like lines too for different people. And they had like, nobody had came out yet, but they had a sign was like saying, this booth is going to have whatever. Where I saw this one place had a bunch of people, but it didn't say who was going to be there. So all of a sudden I hear somebody walking up and he's like, well, the schedule's like on the WWE app or whatever.
We didn't know that.
And we didn't know that. We don't have a fucking WWE app. So I finally me and Clay get in line because I finally figure out this is a Paul Heyman line. And he's like, well, you know, Evan's walking around by himself, and I feel bad about that, so good luck. See you later.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you by yourself.
He's like, peace out. So I stand in line for a total of like 2 hours waiting to meet Paul Heyman.
Meanwhile, I'm like taking pictures with the Undertaker's casket. I'm like hanging out.
Watching NXT.
Yeah, Ultimate Warrior's wife is there talking to people. I'm just like, yeah, this is great. I'm cool in the NXT match. This is so much fun. Ooh, the Dudley Boys.
And I'm standing still on the line for 2 hours after we waited 2 hours to fucking get in. And how it was is they had one main line. Then they had this line off to the side for handicapped people to go through and to get autographs, like easy access. But of course, man, there were motherfuckers just fucking limping up there. They were perfectly fine. They were fucking limping and coughing so they get a fucking now. And there would be like people, like one person would be in a wheelchair, and there'd be 5 normal people fucking pushing the wheelchair. Meanwhile, we just fucking like they would go up there. He would like do like 30 autographs, and we'd go down there and sign some autographs for like the handicapped people or whatever. So this went on for like an hour, like almost like 2 hours. So finally, I'm 4 people away from meeting Paul Heyman, and I didn't know this. But every couple of hours, they change up who's signing. Oh. So I'm ready to fucking go. I've got my shit out. Next thing I know, Paul Heyman just fucking goes off into the fucking sunset, and fucking Zack Ryder comes out. And there's like a tenant up there, and there's like the 3 people in front of me, and the people behind me, they were all excited. And I'm like, and I was pretty loud about it because I was fucking upset. I'm man enough to admit that. And my fucking ego was fucking bruised because I've been standing there this whole fucking time.
And it was a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time. Long time. My buddies are all having a fucking good time. I'm fucking standing there like a fucking stick in the mud. Like, I want to meet Paul Heyman. I got to meet Paul Heyman. And they're out fucking having a good time. So that fucking happens. He walks away, and I'm like, fuck this shit, man. I stood in this line for 2 fucking hours to meet Paul Heyman. I was like, I don't want to meet Zack Ryder. And about that time, Zack Ryder looks at me with a dumbass look he always had. Woo, 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 bro. And I would have been like, fuck you.
And
So I storm out of the place,
and
dude.
I see Mondo walking, and man, I'm not a guy that's lost for words very often. No, I'm definitely not. But he comes up and he's like, "Y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. I waited 2 fucking hours, was 4 people away, and Paul Heyman just walks off, and here's Zack Ryder."
I'm pretty sure that Zack Ryder is probably going to tell his kids this story. I made my fucking presence known, dude, and not overreacted, but I probably should have investigated the situation a little bit more and knew what I set myself up for what was going to happen. But dude, I was fucking crushed, man. I'm like, my one chance to meet fucking Paul Heyman. And he gets blown because of Zack fucking Ryder.
And then Mondo asked us what we've been doing, and then man, I thought he was gonna go off the deep end, y'all, because we're like, man, we got to see a Q&A with the Dudley boys, and like we've been walking around looking at crazy shit all day, and then we get to see a pay-per-view quality NXT match, which was Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains, and like
Beautiful.
And like, you know, I felt bad, man, because I really had thought, like, Mondo had gotten the autograph and all this shit, because we had walked by the line a couple times thinking, you know, we couldn't see him and stuff, so we figured he was done.
He's
done. He's walking
eating
around
hot dogs.
somewhere. He'll find us. His phone is dead, because we had tried to call him.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all walked around and all this stuff, man. I, to this day, have never seen Mondo look like he wanted to kill everyone.
He was a bull in a china shop, man.
And, yeah, I felt bad for him, though,
He looked like he was ready to just kill
everybody.
The only redeeming factor, and I'm like, we're walking in the museum. They had this little display set up for the Fabulous Freebirds, which is like one of my all-time favorites in wrestling and stuff. They had like, you know, like ring-worn jackets and different things. They had a little thing for Stan Hansen, who also went into the Hall of Fame. And I'm looking and thinking it was cool, but I was still fuming.
Yeah,
I was still pissed off.
He was walking from each booth to the other, and you could hear him huffing and puffing, because I don't blame him, man. You wait 2 hours in line to like meet somebody, and it's like 4 people. It's like, can't sit here.
These people, yeah, dude. These people were moving slow, looking at everything, and I'm like, "Yep, take a picture. Yep, take a picture." I wasn't being fucking nice about it.
Oh, hell no.
So we walk around and we see the Dusty Rhodes statue. Honorary Texan, man.
Respect.
Yeah.
Whoa, get out of my way.
I would have been like Stan Hansen. I'd be like, "Get out of my way!" And they're like, "Who are you talking to?" I would have been like, "You!"
All 3 of you.
So we walk around, and I'm just looking like everybody's staring at the shit, taking their time, and I'm fucking cutting in front of folks.
Dude,
like,
he's doing this shit left and right. It's awesome.
Next thing I know, I turn around, and Dana Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior's wife, was standing right there, and it was like a fucking little slice of heaven that just came down.
Yeah,
because dude, she got some buck teeth. I will tell you, she got some buck teeth. But boy, she can chew on my nuts all day long. But she was fucking hot. So we get out of there, and I'm still just like thinking in my mind,
it's getting better though.
Yeah, I want to get the fuck out of here.
Well,
the redeeming quality though, there are two birds with one stone. We go walking around, then they have this fucking Mountain Dew set up.
Son of a bitch, that was heaven.
Dude, and they had like these free like little shots, if you will, of Mountain Dew, and I drank like 4 or 5 of them, and it made me feel much better. But then Clay Moore can tell the rest of the story.
Okay, so I love Mountain Dew. Somehow throughout all of this, Buddy Evan, who doesn't drink soda, hasn't in a while.
Yeah.
He starts looking, he's like
8 years.
And like, I hear him go, man, those look pretty good. And like, I knew right then, Soda Edge was dead. I was like, man, he's sitting there and he's hemming and hawing. Like, I hear him, he's like, that looks pretty good. Hey, Mondo, how's that orange one? It's as good as it looks. You're like, what does it taste like? You're like, carbonated Tang. Boy, oh boy, that was fucking it, y'all.
That set me off because I fucking love Tang.
And it was just like, boom. Well, he takes this shot of soda.
Yeah, let me just say though, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, my boy's had a hard day. We need to take some shots. We need to take some fucking shots. I need to drink with the boys. We're at fucking WrestleMania.
Shots for the boys.
Shots for the boys.
That's right.
So we're just like, man, fuck it. We're in Texas. We're gonna drink. It's gonna be awesome. So go ahead.
So he goes to take this shot of Mountain Dew. And keep this in mind, for a man who hasn't drank soda since the Jazz and Bluesberry explosion of 2011 or something.
2008.
2008.
New Year's
2008, when it felt like his throat had needles in it.
Oh.
And then it turned Evan back into high school, Evan, where he's like, I don't like soda no more. Well, he took this shot of soda, man.
Is he fucking a soda power?
He takes this one, man, and like, dude, you can tell that shit's painful.
It hurt so bad, but it tasted so good.
And that wasn't where the mayhem stopped, you guys, because then he went apeshit. And he drank every... I'm just kidding. He took one more, though.
I tried the Live Wire because that used to be my shit back in the day. I was like, I fucking love Live Wire. So I drank that. I was like, damn, that's good. And then they were like, man, that Code Red's good. I was like, I kind of remember Code Red tasting okay.
What was the blue one called?
Voltage.
Voltage.
That was my favorite. That was so great.
It was good, man.
It tastes...
blue soda is the shit, though.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It tastes like the blue raspberry... what's the new name for Dairy Queen drinks? They used to be Mr. Misty's. Arctic Freeze?
Arctic Freeze.
Yep, Arctic Freezes.
Blue
And
raspberry.
you know what? They definitely ain't from the fucking Arctic, okay?
Yeah. So we did that. We took some drinks. We sat around, did some shots, and then we all kind of cooled
But
off.
Evan Jones definitely broke Soda Edge.
Yeah.
We witnessed it.
That's right.
No bullshit. He broke Edge. Soda Edge, that is.
Soda Edge.
And you
Soda
can't teach that.
And you see, here's the funny thing. For such a prankster as of Evan Jones, he didn't prank anybody. A matter of fact, he made us take an oath, no pranks. But little did he know that he would prank himself later that day.
Yes.
And break Soda Edge.
And I made this big post on my own Facebook about it. And basically what I said was like, hold on, I'm gonna bring this shit up and I'm gonna read it because it was good.
It was good stuff.
It's good shit. It's gonna take me a minute. And so let's see, what else did we do while I'm looking this shit up? We were walked around. You guys got the pictures with the Undertaker's casket, right?
Yeah, we saw Undertaker's casket, and that was pretty much it. They have this superstore with like everything known to man for WWE, and they had a lot of things like themed for that year's WrestleMania. There's a lot of stuff for like different people who were going into the Hall of Fame. Then they had one cool shirt of two cowboy wrestlers locking up, and it said Texas Hold'em. And that was a really cool shirt, and I wanted to get it. But the bigger you get, the higher the price is for T-shirts. And I just couldn't like pop $35 for a T-shirt because I'm cheap ass like that. But that was really cool. So we wound up doing that, and somewhere around that time, I think it's when we heard that they released some NXT tickets.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Let me read this real quick. So what I did was I was like, it's time to get people. I waited a day and I let it happen. So I was like, this is the post. While I have a little downtime, I want to be honest with you guys. This has been an amazing weekend, but I may have crossed the line. I went a little too far. If you know me, you know I'm a man of moderation. Well, I may have lost my mind in the rush of WWE Access last night, and I did something stupid. I was peer pressured, and I caved in. There's a booth that was giving away shots. They had so many flavors. And while I was down here hanging with the Good Brothers, then I put like 7,000 dots to build the tension. And I took a shot of Mountain Dew Live Wire and a shot of Mountain Dew Code Red at the Mountain Dew booth. Both. I broke my soda edge.
You drank both of them?
Yeah.
Both of
Just
them.
take a look at this, Shane. Look at that gigantic selection of sodas.
That's a lot of
It was
sodas.
great.
Shane would have taken a shot with us, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, see?
It was almost like a freaking fat kid's dream.
Yeah.
Hot girls passing out soda.
Yeah. It was great, man. I'll show these pictures on the Offenders Facebook so you can see them as well. They had Diet Mountain Dew. They had the white Mountain Dew, regular Mountain Dew, orange, blue, red. Yeah. So there was a lot of them. So
Every flavor I had.
So I'm walking around, and at this point, I get a text message on my phone, and it's my friend Missy. I've known her since back in the fucking AOL chat room days of Raiden. which was like a fucking, like for those of you who weren't nerds in the 90s, Raiden was like the place where you went to role play in AOL chat rooms. You do like 2 colons, and then you type the shit, and that was the action that you took. So you'd be like, colon, walks in through the door, cape blows through the wind, colon. So you go in there and you do your fucking Dungeons and Dragons type shit. So I've known her forever. Good buddy. She loves wrestling. She's a wonderful human being. I love her. She's great. So she sends me a text message, and it's a screenshot from Twitter, and it says, tickets released, day of show, buy them on Ticketmaster.com. So I was like, fucking A. Okay, so I go on there, and it says it's sold out, and I said, fuck! I missed it, shit, because it was like 2 hours ago, but still she told us, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but the Saturday that I wanted to go to meet Becky Lynch and AJ Styles was sold out. And I was depressed for all of about 2 minutes. But then I was like, I can sit here and be depressed, or I can go have a fucking time of my life with the Good Brothers. So I did that. So all of a sudden we're walking around. I'm like, fuck it. We're going to go. We're going to get fucking tickets to NXT. So we walk outside, and there's a line already. And
Keep in mind, I think he's playing a fucking prank on me because it is April 1st.
Yeah. So I walk up there, and I go up to the lady. It was like the will call booth. I was like, is this the line to buy tickets, or do you already have to have them? She's like, yeah, they released some tickets so you can buy them. And I was like, awesome. How much are they? She's like, $35 to $100. And I was like, cool, great, we get to go. So I walk over there and I tell Clay, I'm like, Clay, they got tickets. And he's like, yeah. I was like, dude, we can get in. What are you talking about? He's like, she say how many they have? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was like, no, why don't you go ask? He's like, I'm not going to ask. And I'm like,
I thought he was playing a fucking prank on me.
and I'm sitting here like, he doesn't give a shit. How can he not give any shits at all? This is NX fucking team.
You gotta know me though, man. I could give like about a lot of things. I have this great poker face, so in my mind, I'm like sitting there like being like, if he's really telling the truth, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. So I'm like, God, you're so fucking lazy. And he's like, I'm not lazy. And I'm walking off, and I just go up to the window. I'm like, how many tickets do you have left? She's like, a couple hundred. I was like, oh my God, goddamn son of a bitch. So I go over, I was like, Clay, they got a couple hundred tickets left. He's like, oh shit. So he all of a sudden got excited just like that. And he starts walking and hustling, and we go over and we get in line.
We wait for fucking hour and a half.
Yeah. And apparently my excitement was a bit much because the woman that was standing in front of us had an amazing posterior.
That booty, though.
And I couldn't stop talking about how great it looked.
Yeah.
Even with her boyfriend standing
I thought
right
he was
there.
going to turn around and be like, quit talking about my girlfriend's fucking ass.
It was like 2 couples, guy, girl. And those 2 girls, man, one of them was fucking dynamite.
Them dudes had to have some money.
Yeah. The other girl, though, she was hot, but she was like almost like her face was like borderline. She's almost not attractive, but boy, that booty though.
So I'm like,
hips don't lie.
So I'm sitting here, I'm like, guys, don't worry about it. There's plenty of tickets. We're surrounded by hot girls with nice butts. Everything's gonna be fine. Like, Mondo takes me aside like he's my dad. He's like, you need to calm the fuck down. And I'm like, whoa.
Dude, she's right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
And I'm like, this is WrestleMania. What are you pussies talking about? We're here, we're partying. So I'm just like, fuck it, we're going to get our tickets. So we're like getting closer, and I'm like, there's tons of tickets, we're going to be fine. And they're like, don't jinx it. Don't fucking jinx it.
But we were entertained by a gay Latino man behind us the whole time. It was so
Were
great.
they standing behind you? Was he like, we're going to WrestleMania and I'm surrounded by hot guys with nice asses. They're right in front of me.
Oh my God.
That would have been hilarious.
No, well, you have to understand why I said don't jinx it, because up to this point, for me and Mondo, especially Mondo, it had been like, you're right there about to get something you want, and then it's like, nope, can't have it. Yeah. I mean, this has already happened twice, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
kind of
so
why.
I kept my focus, man. My PMA was in full effect. Positive mental attitude. We're going to get in. We're going to have seats. We're going to have fun. It's going to be great. So I'm like, good. Tits, butts, tickets, great. So we're standing in line. We get up there, and like, there's like 3 people in front of us, and each person who gets a ticket's like, yeah! And they just run inside. And I'm like, we got this. Yeah! And then we run inside. And like, we walk inside, and like, people would walk inside, and the way it was set up, there was an escalator. And then there's this gigantic line of people who had been waiting like 2 hours to get in. So I was like, fuck that. We're going straight to the escalator. And we walk inside, and Clay goes right to the fucking line where people have been waiting for 2 hours. And I'm like, goody two-shoes, get on the fucking escalator. So like, we go upstairs, and we get in, we get in line, and oh man, we get it in. We're like, we're fucking NXT. We made it. Now, mind you, we made it all the way to the top in the back where there's fucking no more room. but we fucking made it in there.
We were literally like, dude, we had to climb a fucking mountain to get to our seat. And Mr. Pitcher of Health over here, Mr. Evan Jones, he made it up there like he's a fucking champ. And you got my overweight ass. And you got Clay Moore that's got like a bum wheel too. There was no fucking handrail at all.
And we got beers.
And we got beers in both of our fucking hands, and we're trying to fucking keep balance. I think we're more concerned with spilling the beer than
I was. But every time going upstairs isn't an option. Going down them.
But two cool things too. When we were waiting in line, we did see Sam Roberts.
Yeah, from the Sam Roberts podcast.
From Not Sam, What the Haps. I talked to him and got a picture, and he was really cool. And then I met a guy who's like a legendary Japanese wrestling fan named Masahore. And it's funny too because like he meets like everybody ever. He's got all these like connections, and he goes to everything. Well, I've sent him 10 fucking friend requests on Facebook, and he never accepts it. So I talked to him and say, hey, Mas, I'm Bruiser on Facebook, and he smiles and nods his head or whatever. I was like, yeah, man, I've sent you like 10 friend requests. You never accept them. He's like, yeah, I just don't care about that sometimes. I just don't care about that. But
yeah, he was basically like, send me another 10. It's not going to matter.
Yeah. No, I went back and checked, and I tried to send him another one, and he had it disabled.
Yeah.
But he was really nice. Evans almost fluent in Japanese.
Yeah.
So he talked to him, and I said like the one or two Japanese words I know.
And I'm just over there like, hey y'all.
Yeah. And Clay Moore's like, hey y'all. And I'm like Ichiban, number one.
It's so funny because Mondo's sitting there just like
Konnichiwa.
talking to him in English, and I'm like, this guy probably has no fucking idea. So I'm like trying to remember what Mondo says, and I'm translating it. And the guy's like,
and then he's like, here's this souvenir.
Yeah, and he gave us like a souvenir Muda keychain. That was cool. So that was cool. And so the wrestling begins, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was all great.
So we'll just, I didn't realize how long we would be talking about this, so we'll just kind of brush through the section and then get on to the rest of the trip. But so first up was it was American Alpha versus the Revival. And that was fucking awesome. And it's so funny because when we saw it, we were way up in the top, so it was like, we didn't get the same view that people watching pay-per-view got, so I only saw one fuck-up. I saw the one fuck-up where the guy jumped off the rope and he totally missed the shit. But then you go back and you watch it, and it was like there's like 3 other fuck-ups. But we didn't even realize it because everybody in there was having so much fun.
Yeah, it was definitely the funnest crowd.
Nobody was in there. It's like, this is stupid. Because
I ran into one dickhead that was like that. One. And it was after the Nakamura match. Oh, Japanese wrestler for beginners. Americans.
Oh,
I looked at him, I was like, you shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, you shut your fucking cocksucker.
No, I mean, I was going to grab another beer, and I heard him say that to somebody. I was like, you shut your fucking mouth. And he looked like he wanted to do something. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
And so I was like...
A quick fast forward, because I don't know if we'll really get to it or not, but after the I can't talk. After the NXT, we stopped at a 7-Eleven, and there was like a couple of wrestling fans in line, and me and Clay started talking about PWG, and there's like a 10-year-old that says, oh, PWG's overrated. And I'm like, you fucking stupid
little
fuck.
He's the smart mark on the internet that talks shit about everybody, but he was in human form. And he was like a pasty-faced, pimply, overweight white kid.
I'm from right around there. PWG's overrated. I'm like, I told him, I was like, it's just because you can't drink it yet.
Yeah, pimply-faced twerp's overrated too. So back to the matches.
So that was an outstanding tag match, and there's so many things that they do that's really, really good. Like, I noticed they really concentrate on the actual taggings, like the hot tags, because they had mentioned that before, but I didn't really pay attention. But the biggest parts of the matches seem to be like when they're getting the shit kicked out of them, they're trying to reach their partner, but they can't. They'll like run and jump, and the guy will catch him and carry him back off to the other side. Constantly building tension, like distracting the referee. All these matches are completely different than the shit that you see on Raw, because you can tell it's William Regal, it's Triple H, and they're sitting there and they're helping them figure out how to wrestle, as opposed to just Make some soap opera. You know?
I can tell it's William Regal because all of the fucking locks look correct.
Yeah. Because me and Shane back in the day would just watch WCW Nitro and be like, when's the fucking Regal match starting?
Exactly.
When's William Regal coming out here? Steven Regal.
He was so awesome.
Yeah, he was our favorite. So, like, that was an amazing match. And then Nakamura versus Zayn. And, oh, man.
Japanese wrestling for beginners.
Yeah, probably in the top. I've seen so much wrestling, man, that I can't say it was the best live match I've ever seen, but totally in the top 5. Mm-hmm. All together, though, probably one of the best wrestling event, like in its entirety. Probably one of the greatest like live wrestling events I've been to. But that match was right on top of one of the best matches I've ever seen live.
That's definitely like top 3 matches I've ever seen. And like, you know, and to be honest with you, like maybe I saw better matches and I was just a kid. Because I mean, we did have a lot of, you know, nitros and like WCW house shows with great wrestling. But when you're like, you know, this kid that's like 7, 8 years old going to these, your appreciation is just like, oh, wrestling, cool, yay.
Neon colors.
You're not looking at the technicality. You're just looking to see the wrestlers that you like and you hope they win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the crowd reaction was fucking amazing. Everybody was into it. There's nobody booing or saying shit. And there was one of my favorite chants was because usually they'll say the name like Nakamura. Well, somebody started one that said both these guys, both these guys. And I was like, yes, they realized that both of the wrestlers loved it. They were executing shit correctly. They were invested. We were invested. It's like everybody was in the same place at the same time, mentally, spiritually, physically. And since my experience, Tamondo's is like 1/3. It is definitely the greatest thing I've ever seen live. 100% the greatest live event I've ever been to. And that was the greatest match that I have ever seen live.
And even though I'm probably old enough to be her father, the greatest thing I have ever seen at a live wrestling event is Noelle Foley's ass. Cactus Jack's baby daughter, who is not a baby anymore, y'all. She has got one of the greatest setups I've ever seen in my life. Her chassis is remarkable.
Now that brings me to a story from the next day, because your friend Chris, he tells me like, and it's just me and him sitting there. You guys have went back downstairs for Colt Cabana, or you're back and forth between the con one and two. He said, the only thing I've seen all weekend that bothers me is these guys that are old enough to be her father flocking around her like they're just trying to fuck the shit out of her. I was like, well, you're with 3 guys that have been acting. So I just think that
there ain't no shame in this game.
Oh, hell no, there ain't no shame in it. That's a good looking woman. And you know what? I've only got like 10 years on her.
Yeah.
And Nakamura, Shane and I had discussed this earlier. Nakamura, for you otaku out there, is the crazy gay anime villain that the crazier and gayer they get, the more fucking lethal they are.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you see him walk to the ring and you're like, he's fucking dead. There's no chance. That is the gayest, craziest villain ever. Which equals, like, the crazier and the gayer they are, the more badass they're going to end up being in the end. And it was just remarkable. Like, they were back and forth. So many fucking moves. So many reversals. So many counters. It was amazing. So that was great. And then on to... well, no, there was one more. There was Baron Corbin versus Austin Aries. Right?
Austin Aries.
And it wasn't a bad match, but it was definitely the lowest match on the whole thing.
Yeah.
But as we had mentioned earlier, the lowest match on that would have been the best match on Raw.
Yeah.
Because, like, Austin Aries is fantastic. He's been fantastic in TNA. I think he's in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
A couple of other things. Baron Corbin's not bad. He's just, like, not as awesome as everybody else, so he just kind of looks like he sucks in comparison. So that was a pretty cool match. His what's his move called? It's not the Last Ride.
End of days.
End of days. When he hit the end of days on Aries outside of the ring, I was like, oh shit, he fucking killed him for real. And it looked nasty, man. But they did really good. But as I was saying, my baby, who I've been following prior to her joining NXT, myself and my friend Chris, shout out to Chris Lotus, we were fans of a woman named Kana. She was a Japanese wrestler who was known for her mixed martial arts background in the pro wrestling world. It's called Joshi over there. It's women's pro wrestling. It's not diva bullshit. It's like women over there who just beat the shit out of each other. So she gets signed to NXT, and I'm like, my baby. The woman I've been following for 2 years is now finally in America. Awesome. So she gets there. She's over as shit. She fights Bailey, who I love. Bailey is great.
Lick that booty hole.
Those faces that Bailey makes is the best. It's like, my ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, no. And when she walked out, I was like, it's a fucking Kids Bop CD from 1998.
And all these dudes that are there, because outside of like the couple little kids I saw, there was nobody that was in there that was under the age of 25.
Yeah.
And they're just like all going fucking ape shit.
This is gonna sound totally horrible, but the face Shane says she makes a face like she wants ice cream bad or something like that. She can't get it.
Oh, God.
The face she makes is like, I know it's gonna hurt, but you can go ahead and stick it in my ass. Oh my God. That's what I think about when I watch NXT, because I know what's going to be next.
Right.
It's called an explosion. Some people call it climax.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God.
She is definitely.
Where do you even go from that?
You're right.
Well, the match itself was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great.
Even though AJ Styles wasn't in it. Boomsh.
Yeah.
So it was great because, like...
Claymore.
Phenomenal.
So, short story. Me and Mondo and Clay are eating at Buffalo Wild Wing, and we're just talking about AJ Styles. And it was one of the first matches that he had with Chris Jericho, and he came back. And we were just sitting there, it's like, man, that was so great. And not even meaning to, completely subconscious, Clay goes, yeah, man, that match was phenomenal. And he didn't even realize it. Those are the best puns when your friends say them and they don't realize it, and you just start laughing. They're like, what the fuck's so funny? Why are you laughing at me? So, anyway, Asuka, like Bailey, especially in the last, I would say, year or so, has just escalated the game for women's wrestling. Because it's not just like underwear models who learn how to wrestle. Yeah. It's women wrestlers doing their shit. Yeah. You know, and like...
Taking a dump in the rain.
Crashed. So anyway, like they're in there, they're wrestling, they're having a great match. There's counters. Asuka hit like 3 or 4 amazing armbar counters out of fucking nowhere, which is why I love her so much, because it's like she does for me, like wrestling technique wise, what Dean Malenko used to do for me back in.
Oh yeah.
Except she has beautiful titties and ass, and she's Japanese.
Yeah, don't have a ding-leg.
Yeah. So she's just like pulling all of these things out of nowhere. She's dressed up like Lum from Urusei Yatsura, which is like a fucking awesome anime. Her hair looks like a delicious snow cone. And I'm just loving every minute of it. And she and Bailey are back and forth. And the people that are sitting next to us, as like a wonderful family of 4. Super friendly, nice. So like the whole time.
Were they from Florida too?
No, they were. Who knows where they were from?
Maybe.
I would say the way they were acting, they were probably from North Carolina.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right.
So like we're sitting there talking about it before the match starts, and the mom's sitting next to me. She's like, "Yeah, we're hoping the Bailey's going to win." I was like, "Well, I wish I could cheer with you, but I'm actually in love with Asuka." And she goes, "Oh, that is so sweet." So I'm like,
Mr. Honest Jones.
Honest Jones. I'm like, I love her 100%. I ain't gonna lie. 100%. She's my baby. I ain't gonna lie, man. So like I'm sitting there watching, and like the little kids are kind of like, "Come on, Bailey." I'm like, "Asuka ganbatte kudasai!" Like just screaming in Japanese.
And I'm like looking to my left like, what in the
And the
fuck
Japanese
is that in this
photographer
record?
is like popping over in the corner, looking over at me like.
And to keep up with my current theme and to react to Clay's more about pooping in the ring, either one of those girls can take a shit in my face just so I can see where it came from.
That doo-doo breath.
I don't even care, man.
Shane, help, man.
I need to.
We got to recover from this.
There's no recovering from the doo-doo in the face. I like that doo-doo line.
I love that doo-doo line.
Eddie Murphy.
You got to represent Samuel L. Jackson.
So that was an amazing match. I didn't expect, considering we were in the K. Bailey Hutchinson arena, as Clay pointed out, I thought Bailey was going to retain, but nope, my baby made it. She made it to the top. It was
She'll
beautiful.
just get buried by Nia Jax in a month.
Don't you wish that evil on me. Anyway, amazing match. Then after that was what was the match that was after that?
That was Balor versus Joey Samoa.
Joey Samoa, a.k.a. Ryan Smith from Offenders Episode 6.
Yes.
Boy, I bet he offended a lot of folks.
We'll try and get him back on here one day so he can say some crazy shit. But so Samoa Joe and Finn Balor was the only one that me and the family agreed on. So we were like, yeah! So we automatically became friends over that. And That was an amazing match. Honestly, you guys, do you think it was a shoot or do you think it was a work that he got busted open and like the
headbutt?
It was by accident.
I think it was an accident.
It was. The
something
headbutt,
just happened.
Because like it seemed like he was legitimately getting angry with the doctors for interfering.
He was.
Like
No, that was real.
That was real. Now,
That's
getting
real.
angry with that. That was real, man. He just wanted to wrestle his damn match.
Yeah,
Right.
but also Fergal Devitt, he's like a small framed dude, but he's like a freaking Rottweiler, man. He's small, but he's all freaking head. So just imagine getting headbutted by him in your fucking eyeball.
Yeah, dude, he has a cartoon head for sure.
Yeah, the blood on his inside his face is like, fuck this, we getting out
If
of
he was
here.
a cartoon character, he would have definitely been on Rugrats.
Right.
and they were getting so angry. It was just like they were getting angry. The crowd was getting angry, and it's so funny because they were saying "fuck PG, let him bleed," like all these great chants. It's just hilarious. So like they're fighting back and forth, and it's great. It's like a really good match. They were really matched up well. And let's see. Excuse me. So basically what happens is they're going back and forth and he keeps getting busted open. And I wasn't sure if like the reason I was asking is because I kind of thought it was a work because like they knew that the doctors interfering would piss off the crowd. So that's why I thought it was like they were hamming it up because they kept going back out there. But on the other hand, it's just like, well, he got busted open and they're trying to keep it PG, so that's why they're doing it.
Possibly after it happened, they were like, yeah, we'll add to this.
I think once they saw the crowd reaction and how much booing there was, they were like, well, fuck it, man, this is working.
Yeah, man.
What about you, Shane?
Well,
What you think?
no, it's probably because when you get a wound like that, your head bleeds a lot, like a whole lot, and it will keep bleeding. That's why they will stop the matches in MMA if the blood gets too bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why they kept trying to glue it back together with the stuff. It's basically super glue to glue your face back together because you will keep bleeding without it, and if you lose too much blood, it's not good if you're running around in the ring trying to do shit. So that was probably the case.
So yeah, everything with that match was good and it ended up being fine. And of course, Finn Balor ended up winning, and everybody was happy because he's a great champion. He's one of the best parts. It was one of the best signings that they've ever made. And so, just not to mention
Boston Berry was there.
who?
Boston Berry.
Who's Boston Berry?
Sounds like a delicious flavor of soda.
Austin Aries.
Austin Aries.
The Boston Berry.
So let me think. So after that happened, that was pretty much the end of the thing, and
That was the end of the night for the
Yeah, that
most
was the end
part.
of the night.
that was the end of the first
I
night.
managed to get beer with 5 minutes left this go round. That was when things kind of switched up.
Oh!
Not this time. Give me that beer.
Yeah.
When we're walking out, I was like, that couldn't be. So I turn around, I'm like, hold the fuck up. So I run over and I'm like, it's Brother Love. And there's a guy fucking dressed up as Brother Love cosplay from like 1987 WWE. So we go over and get a picture. I love you.
And also that day we saw a dude dressed up like that big piece of shit, Big Van Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a guy dressed as Nakamura who looked exactly like Nakamura, who was acting like he was actually Nakamura.
And there was like tons
Posing
of
for
people
pictures.
taking pictures of him.
It's like, that's fucking Nakamura, Muri, y'all.
Yeah, one douchebag was like, "That's really him." And I'm like,
No, it's
like,
not.
fool, that ain't. I saw him drinking a Coke out there, chilling by himself.
Come on, Bobby Sue, it's Nikki Mural.
Nicky Mural.
It's Noki Muri.
It's Sideways Sam over there.
It's Freddie Mercury Jackson.
Yeah. It's old Big Hand Bobby over there.
So that was it for Friday, and let's see. So the next day we wake up early as shit. We all take showers and get ready and everything, and we get in line. We just went straight to the hotel that day, didn't we?
Yeah, we just went straight to WrestleCon.
Yeah. And WrestleCon is run by High Spots. High Spots is like the #1 pro wrestling anything on the web.
Yeah.
It's like the Amazon of pro wrestling, pretty much.
Yep.
And what it is just like a big meet and greet. There's, as we mentioned earlier, lots of events and stuff. So we get there. We've been looking on and off at all the people we wanted to meet. We bought some of the photo passes early. And we were like, we want to check this out, And everything was good. So we go and we get in line. And you had a meet and greet with who?
Pentagon.
Again, I choose the biggest fucking line to stand in.
I swear to God,
But
Mondo is the master of fucking lines.
It was worth it though. So I stand in line for not too bad.
30 minutes.
Like 30 minutes. for Pentagon Jr., who's a star with Lucha Underground, and he was really cool. He's a bad guy, or a rudo as they call it in Lucha Libre, and I have a tattoo on my hand that says Technico, which is a good guy in Lucha Libre. So I walked up to him and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's a New Mexican, and I point down to my hand and say, "There's still hope yet." And he looks at it a little bit. He's like, "Oh, Technico!" Yeah, he actually wanted me to take a picture with me pointing at it, but the jackass taking the picture fucked it up. So, but yeah, I met him while I was standing in line. Evan got to talk with Colt Cabana. I'm sure we'll talk more about that. And I gave Colt Cabana one of my CDs and for Tape Fist, and he said he really liked the song title "Shit Ticket." But like I was in line for that. That was one of my main people I was going to meet. And One Man Gang, and of course, like the Great Muta. But then also, when we were standing in line, I had like one of those e-tickets on my phone, but it wouldn't load up. So I had to go upstairs for a better connection for the ticket to load up. And when I was going upstairs, Kevin Von Erich from the famous Von Erich family, the only one that's living at all among like 12 people, goes the opposite direction. I'm like, "Hey, Big Kev, how you doing?" And he's got this really weird, thick Southern accent. It's like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" It's almost like
a Muppet.
Yeah, dude, just like a Muppet or a freaking Fat Albert. "Hey, brother, how you doing, man? Hey, how you doing?" So I meet him, and like I go upstairs, I get a connection, I come back downstairs, and get in that line and stuff. But like, yeah, great. My main people were One Man Gang, Great Muta, and Pentagon. But also, unannounced, Kevin Von Erich was there doing signings for the only one that really matters to some people, the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame that used to be in New York. Just got moved to Wichita Falls, Texas. And the guy who's the head of the museum now is Cowboy Johnny Mantell, who was a wrestler in World Class Championship Wrestling. But his brother was Ken Mantell, who was the booker for World Class as well. But I go over there, and they announced that Kevin Von Erich's only going to be signing for like an hour. So I stayed in line for half of that for Pentagon Jr., and I'm like, I asked somebody, I was like, "Where's Kevin Von Erich at?" So he's at the other side of the building. So I get there, I found Clay Moore. I walk over there.
I'm just wandering.
Yeah, just wandering around. And just to get this guy standing there, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'm in line, I'm ready to go." And he's like, "Fuck you, motherfucker." And he was like, "Yeah, it's already been cut off." And of course, I get kind of fucking heated, and I'm like, well, shit, 2 days in the fucking row, man. I was like, "Dude, it's just me. Just let me right here, right behind you, and everything will be okay." And I guess his handler or whatever cut the line off, and they were just like, "We can't have any more people." But being, quick in mind or sneaky, I see Johnny Mantell over there. So I walk over there and I talk to Johnny Mantell, and I meet him, and I meet another guy. That was associated with World Class as well. So, and I did have the interaction with Kevin Von Erich, so it wasn't a total loss, but it would have been cool to get an actual picture with him. But yeah, tons of shit going on that day. And another side note too, I think it was WrestleCon is a perfect name for that event in general, because most wrestlers are cons anyway.
Yes, they are. And the biggest one was Virgil, and he had
his traveling merch booth.
He'd just walk up and he wasn't even officially there. He just went to the convention, and he would just like shake people's hands. He'd be like, "What's up, Yami? I just want to shake your hand, Yami."
Yeah.
And he'd just be shaking people's hands like, "That's a nice picture, Yami. Let me sign it for you, Yami." And he'd sign it, he'd be like, "That's $20. I already signed it. Give me the $20. And it's just like that, and they're just like scared, so they give him $20. He's like, "Thank you." And then he goes to the next person, shaking hands, signing shit that doesn't even belong
And
to
Ted
him.
DiBiase was actually there too, right?
No, I don't think so. I didn't see him.
Or maybe he was there Friday.
He was there Friday, but Virgil sure as hell had that $1 million belt.
Yeah, dude, that broke ass
fucking crack rock belt.
Yeah, dude, on the back, there's like the inside with like the back of it got busted, so he's got a piece of cardboard like taped over the back of it to hold it together.
Piece of shit.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so I got like I mainly went for those like 3 like autograph signs or whatever. Stood in line forever for Great Muta, but of course Mr. Jones was practically the first person in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm just wandering around the whole time, and I'm getting to meet fuckers like while they're like just chilling and walking around.
Tell them the
places.
Sabu story.
Oh, okay. So I'm outside and I'm smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden here comes fucking Sabu outside. And just for the record, he is the fucking grumpy cat of wrestlers.
Yeah.
He looked so angry just having to sit
He was
there.
just like, "You got a lighter?" I said, "Yeah, man. Can I get a picture with you, man? How much you want?" He's like, "I don't want nothing but a lighter." And then I'm just like, "Well, here's a lighter, man." And he's like, "You got a camera?" And, just being grumpy the whole fucking time, like.
But he hooked you up with
He
a free
hooked me up with
picture.
a free picture.
Not a $35 picture.
And then, like, I'm like, well, fuck, I got Sabu's picture. So I make a beeline inside to go meet the whole fucking show, Rob Van Dam. And his bitch ass wants $30 fucking for a photo. No autograph, no jack shit, just fucking a picture on my fucking cell phone. Pissed me off, but I paid it anyways.
And then what happened was...
That's the best part.
And then Clay is one of the most mathematically sound people, next to Kyle, of course, that I've ever met, and he is one of the most discount oriented people ever. So if he was a wrestler, his name would be Frugal Devitt.
God damn it.
Yes. Oh man, who else did you meet? Was that it? Any other pictures? Oh, the
I met
Addiction.
I met the Addiction. They were cool guys. I didn't mind giving them $20 for a picture because they were giving other shit with it, which happened to be a signed comic book that Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian wrote. I thought that was cool. I didn't mind paying for that because it was just like, at least you're giving something fucking else with it. And I don't give a fuck about comics, so I just gave it to Evan.
Man, thank you so much. That was a good fucking comic book. Speaking of which, they bust my chops later on because I'm charging my phone on the wall. I got my bag under my head. I'm laid out. I'm reading my comic book. I'm having a good time. And it's like, you want some milk and cookies, bitch?
He was running around. He was waiting for milk and cookies.
I'm just laying down enjoying the comic book I just received, and they're making fun of my ass.
Because Evan is just like this, laying on his back, and he's got the comic book over his head like this.
I expected him, like, if Evan was a drinker, I expect there to be like a fucking pina colada there, man.
Yeah, exactly. Or he totally reminds you of like the dude you saw like waiting for the bus after school.
Yeah.
he missed the bus and he's like laying on his back because he's
The only
bored.
thing he was
That actually was me. As a matter of fact.
He was a fucking disc man.
Yeah, right.
Sony Discman.
But I think out of everybody, I actually got to talk to Rey Mysterio. I got to talk to a couple of other people. But the most interesting interaction I ever had in my life was with Teddy Hart. Teddy Hart is he is a part of the famous Hart family from Canada. Bret Hart's his uncle. One of the girls who didn't wrestle is his mom. Well, I'm down there getting like a snack at the little hotel store, and he comes walking through everybody holding this big, I don't even know what kind of cat it was, but holding this big cat in one hand. He's wearing socks. He's not wearing shoes. He's got these fluffy pants on. He's got those old school freaking hip hop jackets, the leather ones that would have like the 8-ball. The one he had his name on the back. No freaking shirt, big gold chains. And I'm like, this is going to be a fucking long shot. I'm going to fucking wait for his ass to see if I can get a picture. Because fucking Joey Ryan was hanging out, but I didn't want to fucking mess with him. So I just gave him like the thumbs up or whatever, and he just gave him a quick like heads up or whatever.
I met him too.
So I hung around and waited for him to come out because there's all these like something else was going on, like a cheerleader convention. There's all these little cheerleader girls, so they go up there. And,
Jesus Christ.
You little cheerleader slut. But they're going up to petting the cat or whatever. That sounded kind of weird too. But petting the cat with each other. But
that's not an acronym for pussy.
Right. So he comes walking out in all his glory.
I'm just going to interrupt here. What the hell? How would it be an acronym for pussy?
Yeah, perfectly unusual sissy slice.
I mean, yeah, that's what I meant.
Whatever. I just want to say pussy. But he comes walking up, and I'm like, "Hey man, can I get a picture with you?" And he's like, "Sure, brother." And he's like holding the cat, and trying to give me like the hit knuckles and everything. And I'm just like, I was like, "That's an awesome cat. What's your cat's name?" And he's like, "Oh, this cat right here, her name's Persephone." And I'm like, "Who has a cat named Persephone?" But when he said the name, my eyes lit up, and he was like, we made a connection because he's like, "Oh, you know what I'm talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, the Greek goddess or whatever." So we took a picture, and yeah, Teddy Hart, one interesting dude.
What a weird fucking dude it sounds like.
He must have balls like the size of fucking barns.
Anybody that just walks around with this big goddamn cat
does not give a fuck.
Yeah, you can't give a fuck, man. He might be the riffraff of wrestling.
Right, maybe.
So may I interject now?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
So I actually made notes. Like I had a specific reason
Oh
to
my
attend this.
god, I saw him taking notes the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I'm like writing shit down. So like so first off, I was like, okay, Great Muta is going to be at noon, so I'm going to get in line at 11. I got about an hour I can walk around. Great. So I'm like walking around, and first off, I see Colt Cabana, and I'm like, holy shit, Colt motherfucking Cabana, because I love his podcast, the Art of Wrestling podcast. If you haven't heard of it, go check it out. It's really good. It's famous because he's like one of CM Punk's friends. He's been an independent wrestler for a long time, makes documentaries. He's genius. He's funny motherfucker. He's a great comedic wrestler. So I go up and I talk to him, and he's just acting like I'm his buddy from fucking Chicago. He's like super friendly. He's like, "Hey, thanks for coming out, man. What's going on? What are you doing here?" And I'm just talking to him, and he's just like, "Oh, cool, man. Yeah. So, who's your favorite wrestler?" And he's just like making small talk and hanging out, and like, I was like, "Dude, I want to get this and I want to buy this." He's like, "Yeah, you want to get a picture?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "How about 3 pictures?" He takes my phone and starts doing selfies with different fucking faces every time. And he's like, man, he was so cool. And he's like, "What's your name?" Because I always get, when I meet somebody, I'm so happy that I'm talking to them, I forget to say my name. So I'm just like, "You're awesome and you're great and I love your things that you do. Thank you." And then I walk off, I'm like, fuck, I don't get my name. And I guess he knew that. He's like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Evan." He's like, "Evan, it's nice to meet you. I'm Cole." I was like, "I know who you are." He's like, "That's right." So we're sitting there and we're talking about Japan, and like he was helping me figure out how to get some reference pictures for this project that I'm working on, and he was just amazing. He was a lot of fun. And then I'm like walking around, and I don't know how many of you people will remember this, but back in TNA there was a woman named the future legend Alyssa Flash, who was known in the indies as Cheerleader Melissa. Super hot, super great wrestler, but for me, one of my favorite podcasts of all time, and one that's favored by Mondo, is called Talkin' Shop, featuring the Good Brothers, Carl and Luke, a.k.a. the BC, the Biz Bullet Club. Well, she was the first female guest on their podcast, Talkin' Shop. So her name, when somebody goes on there, they get a nickname, something Hoot. So she was Cheerleader Hoot. So I walk up. I don't say, "Hey, Cheerleader Melissa." I don't say, "Hey, Alyssa Flash." I'm like, "Cheerleader Hoot." She goes, "Cheerleader Hoot? Oh my God! Nobody ever calls me Cheerleader Hoot." So I was like, "Yes, I got an in. I'm great." So I go over there, and she's like, she gives me a hug, and like we're talking and all this other stuff. And I said, "Do you take cash?" She's like, or "Do you take cards?" She's like, "No, it's cash only." It's like, "No problem. I'll go get some cash."
It's like going to a hooker.
I didn't say that.
I did.
I didn't say that.
He said it was like. He didn't say she wasn't.
So
because Cheerleader Melissa's definitely not a hooker.
she's amazing. She's
I take that back. She is an amazing hooker. Haha, you see what I
Hook
did?
wrestler! Yes!
As a matter of fact.
So,
Hooker.
anyway, so like I'm walking around, I'm like, who else can I get before? And I see Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Oh! And like,
Keep the street safe.
no, that's Homeless Joe. What are you talking
He has the same thing.
about? So I'm like looking around. I'm like, that's Hacksaw Jim Duggan. This is fucking awesome. So I walk over there and I'm like, "Hello, Mr. Duggan. Do you guys take cards?" He's like, "Yes, sir. Of course we do, Mr. Tough Guy." Hey. So everything's going well. And his daughters are like running everything. They're like, "Please let me take the picture for you so you can pose." And I was like, "How nice is that?" So he's like, "So who are you here to see, Tough Guy?" He's exactly like you think he would be. He's like making puns and just like all these little dumb jokes and stuff. And he's like, I was like, "It's a pleasure to meet you." He's like, "It's a pleasure to meet you." I was like, "Why is it a pleasure to meet me?" He's like, "Because somebody's over here talking to me and I'm not just looking at the ceiling." You know? It's like everything I said, he had something funny to say. And it was like
great.
And he was like putting his arm on my shoulder and hugging me. I was like, "Yeah, one of my coworkers used to live down the street from you in Florida." And like you would like throw barbecues, and she was blonde. Her name was Amanda. He's like, Amanda Atchison. I remember her. She was 3 houses down. I was like, holy shit. He remembers somebody from like 15 years ago.
Nice.
And he was just so great.
Genuine guy.
Yeah, he's just great. He was super awesome. So that was good. And then I went and I was like, oh shit, the time has come. So I realized what time it was, and I ran over to the Great Muta booth. And over there was a couple, like a handicapped kid and his mother. So I was like, awesome, front of the line, good to go. But when I got there, Colt Cabana had beat me to it. he took a fucking giant picture of his face and put it over Great Muta's head at his own booth. So I was like, this is fucking great. So I'm standing in line for an hour and everything's going on. I'm talking to people there and it's great. So I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I got this. I'm going to talk Japanese to Great Muta. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be great. So he gets over there and like everybody's talking and the translator's over there. I was like, Nihongo wakarimasu? He's like, oh, Nihongo. So I go over there and I was like, basically what I said to him was like, my favorite match was you and Jinsei Shinzaki. I speak a little Japanese. And he was like, it's Japanese Nihongo. And like, so of course I'm like, he's impressed that I know Japanese. I've done well. Because no matter what anybody says, when you meet somebody that you like, you go to a concert of a band that you love, they point at you, they see you singing, you turn 7 years old for a couple of seconds. And I was 7 years old, Evan Jones. I was like, Great Muta knows I speak his language. And then I liked one of his most important matches. So, like, we sit there, and I got a bottle of water from him, and, like, we're posing, and we're just doing everything. And everything's great. And I walk off, and I say, for all of you who want to learn some good Japanese, I said, Go shinsetsu o fukaku kansha shimasu. Which means, from me being the most humble, lowly person possible to the person I'm talking to being the most respected, venerable person in the world, thank you for what you've done for us. So I say that, and he goes, oh, thank you very much. And I was like, no, thank you. And he was like, oh, thank you. And I was like,
so you're trying to out Japanese one.
Yeah, I was
no, thank you very much.
I wanted him to know that people love and respect his country, and I fucking did it, and I got a picture, and it was great. So after that, I was like, my trip is achieved. I'm good to go. So then I was like, okay, time to walk around. And then I got to my second order of business, which is meeting the wrestlers and asking them questions that I should normally only get at wrestling school, but I'm not going to pay for it. So I just walk around. I'm walking around to just random wrestlers. I'm like, I'm just a guy who loves wrestling, but I'm working on writing something, and I want to have good matches. Can you give me some tips? And everybody was cool. Nobody acted like I was an asshole. Nobody pushed me away. But I have to say, of all the people that I met, the number one most shocking person was Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster. Do you guys remember?
Yeah,
well, I know
that's
you
double
do.
footsie stomp guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember being a kid, and Kevin Sullivan was the Taskmaster. He was terrifying. He'd have like fucking zebra makeup on, and he was evil. And he brought in these big monsters. So I'm like, he might be a jerk to me, but I'll never know unless I try. So I walk up, and first off, he's about Clay's height, which, like, when you see people on TV, you expect them all to be 6 feet tall, but he's like 5'5", 5'6". I was like, holy shit. So I go over, I'm like, Mr. Sullivan, I'm a big fan of your work. I'm just working on some wrestling stuff, and is there any way that you could give me some tips on psychology and, good storytelling? And he goes,
Young man, I'm gonna do this for you. I want you to sit down next to me. I'm gonna give you 5 wrestlers that you need to study. So here, sit down and we're gonna have a talk.
And I was like, holy shit!
Were you like,
Grandpa!
It's like, okay, Mick, I'll do that.
And listen to me, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how he sounds, man. Because when he was talking to me, I was like, remember that he's elongated that vowel. So he's just sitting there. He's like, do you want to? Let me bring up the list of the wrestlers, just in case you guys want to know who he thinks is the best, because he was one of the fucking best bookers in wrestling of all time, in the opinions of many. So basically, I sit down and I'm writing this, and he says, shit, that's wrong. I took a whole bunch of notes. I'm so sorry. He says, Mark Lewin was one of the greatest faces of all time. Mondo, do you know who Mark Lewin is? Would you agree with that?
Yes, Mark Lewin started off his career as a babyface, but then in the latter part of his career, he went down to Florida, and he was part of the Prince of Darkness, Kevin Sullivan's Dark Army, and he became Purple Haze. They had this, they had this segment where Purple Haze arose from a lake, and he comes out wearing this robe and stuff, and yeah, Mark Lewin was a shit.
And he said for a perfect heel, go watch the original Sheik, which I already knew was like great advice just based on what I've heard from Mondo. Then as for other stuff, he told me to watch the Mr. Wonderful, of course, Paul Orndorff, and I have a bunch of things scribbled on here. I think the other one, he either told me the Rock and Roll Express or to watch Starrcade 87 Terry Taylor versus Nikita Koloff. No, Lance Storm told me that match. He told me the Rock and Roll Express. And but Lance Storm was the second nicest guy that I talked to, because when you see Lance Storm, he's like super brusque, to the point, always, normal. But he was like, yeah, I'd be happy to tell you that. That's no problem. Thank you for asking. The less shitty matches we have, the better. And I was like, great, okay. So I'm like sitting there, and he says that was like one of the best matches that he could ever think of to tell anybody to watch. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, the Terry Taylor versus Nikita Koloff, yeah.
Clay, have you seen that? Do you know that one?
Terry Taylor versus Nikita Koloff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, I have never seen that one. And he said that make sure that when you're doing storytelling that you firmly establish the good guy and the bad guy, because the reason that stuff falls through is because nobody can really understand who they're supposed to like anymore, because everybody turns so fast. But if you make the characters a lot more relatable as the good guy and the bad guy, people will get more invested in them. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's a very logical thing to point out. Why didn't I think of that on my own? Oh, because I'm not a fucking wrestler.
I will say, if you haven't watched it yet, that Terry Taylor is definitely the captain of that match. Okay.
All right. So that was good. And then I was like, well, I didn't poop all day yesterday, and now is the time when I must poop. So I go into the bathroom, and I sit down, and I handle my business. Well, while I'm sitting down, I hear, hey, it's Scott Hall. Hey, everybody, it's the bad guy. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, poor fucking Scott Hall. He just wants to come in here and use the bathroom. And people are just like, oh, hey, I know you have to go to the bathroom, but let me draw attention to you. So it's like, hey, how's it going, Mr. Bad Guy? And I swear to you, he goes, be a lot fucking better if I can get this fucking piss out. I was like, yes! That is the most perfect thing that you could say is Scott Hall. So I'm sitting there, I'm like,
I thought you guys were here to see WCW. See, but it wasn't WCW, so you can say
WCW.
Or are you here to see me pee?
Yeah! Oh, fuck, that's great. I met Scott. I met Scott Norton, and basically I told him what the other people said, and he was like, yeah, that's good advice. Just follow what they said. I wouldn't tell you any different. And I was like, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. He's like super intimidating. Even when he was being nice, he was like, thanks for coming over. I was like, oh, thank you. So I like walked off real fast. And then we found out also, like the day before, that Ring of Honor had a sold out event that we wanted to go to, but we couldn't make it to it because it was sold out. But they were doing free meet and greets. So you didn't have to pay to get in. You just paid for like the picture or whatever. Which is where Clay met everybody and got the signed comic book. Did you meet anybody up there?
No, after that I talked to the Motor City Machine Guns, because I gave them like some CDs, because you told me they were in the band, and I talked about Alex Shelley, and for people who follow ROH and Alex Shelley, you'll notice that on the back of his trunks he has this thing that kind of looks like a skull, but it doesn't have bones. It has two rockets crossways. And it's for the punk rock band Teenage Bottle Rocket that he's real good friends with. We were talking about that, and their drummer just recently died, so we were connected to that, and I gave him CDs and stuff.
So basically what happened was I went upstairs, and I wanted to catch The Addiction, because both of those guys are awesome, and I wanted to like ask Christopher Daniels a bunch of talking shop questions, because he's been on that podcast a bunch, but he wasn't there. So I go up there, and I meet the Motor City Machine Guns, and I start talking to him. And I was like, so what do I need to do to buy a picture from you guys? Like, because I talked to Saban about video games, talked to Shelley about NJPW when he was over there for Ring of Honor. And
you talked to Saban about video games? He was into video games.
That's exactly where he got his name from.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, that's why I was talking to him about it. He's like super into Final Fantasy, so we were good on that. And then I was like, so how much is it? He's like, well, actually, you guys, you have to buy tickets. And I was like, okay. So I go to buy a ticket, and my card gets declined. So I'm like, fuck, it's Jason fucking Moss's luck. And the same thing happened to me. So I call, and they were like, yeah, it's going to take a little while, but it should be able to work. I walked back over, and I was like, yeah, I was trying to get my card to go through, but I'm from Georgia, and they tried to run it because you guys are based out of Maryland. And like, they both look over at each other, and they're like this. They're like, they made eye contact, and they looked up at me, and they went, And they grabbed a picture and they started signing it. And I was like, these fucking guys. But when I was waiting to talk to them, because they were talking to this older gentleman, and I didn't want to interrupt them because they were having a good conversation. So I'm just walking around, oh, look, T-shirts. Oh, look, there's a carpet on the floor. So I just acting like I wasn't waiting around the table. Look at the doors over there on that wall. So I walk over there after the guy walks away, and I'm talking to them. And then this guy, the older gentleman, walks over. He's like, "Hey, how you doing? What are you doing here? You just having fun?" I was like, "Yes, sir. Yeah, we were here." He's like, "Did you catch the Ring of Honor event?" I'm like, "No, it's sold out. We wanted to go." He's like, "Oh, where are you from?" I was like, "Yeah, we drove from Georgia." He's like, "You drove from Georgia?" And I was like, "Yeah, we drove from Georgia." And he's like, "Well, you guys going to this?" He's like, "Nah, it was sold out, so we couldn't get in." And he's like, "Hold on a minute." And he walks over to the fucking secretary lady, and he's like, "These 3 people are my friends." And I was like, who the fuck did I just talk to? So he walks over, and as you can see over there, what I'm pointing to now, it says 1 day pass, Ring of Honor. And he hands me these 3 golden tickets to the fucking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And he's like, here you go, enjoy. And I'm like,
and I'm walking up as this whole interaction's happening.
I have no idea who this is.
And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is Evan talking to Carrie Silken for?
Because he introduced himself as Carrie. I was like, what the fuck was that guy's name? And Clay's like, you dumbass, that's the president of Ring of Honor. And I was like, oh! I was talking to the president of Ring of Honor.
I'm like sitting there marking out. I'm like, he's giving us free tickets. And I'm like, thank you, Mr. Silken. And he's like, oh, this asshole knows who I am. I'm going to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. It's like as soon as he knew that we knew, he was like, oh, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he was like done right at that moment. But I just was like, I got to thank this guy. And I know like who the fuck it is.
And he was telling me he's all excited about going to Georgia to see Jethro Tull. So, immediately when I find out who he is, I go on his Twitter. I was like, thank you so much, sir, for giving us the tickets to the show. Enjoy Jethro Tull in Georgia. And then, I went and I gave Mono the ticket. He was like, holy shit, we're getting in. So we go in, and I pass by him again. I was like, thank you. He's like, you don't have to thank me anymore. It's okay. It's okay. I was like, I was just thank you so much. So we go inside. And I'll let Clay take over because he watched the whole fucking thing.
That was fucking... Honestly, that was... I'm a huge fan of Ring of Honor, so getting to go for free... that far out, and especially a major namesake, because that was Supercard of Honor. I've been watching Ring of Honor since pretty much they began.
Yeah.
And that's always been a staple event. They always, in the early days, it was just it was a big event they had every year. But now it's become an event that they do at WrestleMania weekend, no matter where it's at. So they say, last year it was in Florida, so yada yada. It's going to be it's going to be wherever WrestleMania is at. So we get to go in, and the whole card's solid. It was a solid card. I have to say the best match that I saw in there was the 4-way tag match between the Briscoes, The Addiction, Young Bucks, and Motor City Machine Guns. And these 2 went to go hear somebody talk about wrestling while that was going on. I'm just like,
it's called Motherfucking Cabana live podcast, which I got on, by the way, because I got the mic. But anyway, go ahead.
You got to see the fool wrestle. But
we did get to see him wrestle because we stayed for the first 3-4 matches till the intermission.
I was back and forth.
Yeah, you were back and forth.
I was back and forth.
And then that match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole was the shit. I mean, it was basically a fight without honor, and they fucked each other up. The only thing I was, and this is my only complaint, is that I didn't get to see a fucking flip pile driver. That pissed me off. But that's just because I wanted to see somebody get fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
And we were there at a very good time because that was when Colt Cabana officially announced that he was going back to Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And Jay Lethal is the champion there now. And Jay Lethal fucking lost to Colt Cabana when he returned.
Giving him a title shot in the future.
And the greatest thing was Jay Lethal comes out and he's cutting a great promo. He's like, does anybody want to fight me, the champion who takes all comers? And then somebody says Cheeseburger. He's like, that sounds a great idea. Cheeseburger. Now, Shane, do you know who Cheeseburger is?
No.
He's a 5'5", 110-pound African-American wrestler who dresses up like a Power Ranger.
This is fantastic.
And
Yes!
He comes out with a stuffed cheeseburger.
Yeah.
He has a stuffed cheeseburger hat that he wears on his head. So he comes out there and he's like, you see this? I'm even giving him a shot at the title. Trying to make it look like he was the nice guy, that he's beating up this tiny little dude. He's so good at what he does. So he gets in there. Cheeseburger has a couple of good spots. It was a great match, but he just beat the fuck out of Cheeseburger.
It was just a match where you knew he was going to get the fuck beat out of him, and that was it.
And one of the great spots that they did was like, Jay Lethal does a really cool move on him, and everybody's like, one more time, one more time. And Jay Lethal looks around, he's like, one more time.
Nope.
And he flips everybody off, and I was like, what a heel.
Jay Lethal actually ended up being a very cool guy, because I noticed him back there hanging out with Sanjay Dutt. And if you don't know who Sanjay Dutt is, that's the real player from the Himalayas. Yeah. They were a tag team. They were just hanging out. They were a tag team from TNA. So me being the smart guy I am, I'm not going to go ask for a picture with Jay Lethal right off the bat. I want to act like I fucking know something. So I got a picture with Sanjay Dutt first, even though I give shit about getting a picture with Sanjay Dutt. But it made it look like I was.
First, you got to hit on the ugly chick to make it look like you're not going after.
It's the same psychology.
That's what he was trying to
pretty
pull.
much, and it worked. But yeah, he was a cool guy.
And so that was good. The match after that, who fought after that?
Man, it was a blur at that point.
Everything that I saw was great. Ring of Honor solid. Like I'm a pretty casual fan. I've seen maybe 2 whole events. I saw one in person with Mondo and Clay, and that was outstanding. So I'm like, after the president gave me free tickets, he made a fan for life. So now I'm following, I'm watching, I'm good. So that was great. I went downstairs to catch the Colt Cabana podcast, which was outstanding, and they had let me see. They had Marty DeRosa, which is a stand-up comedian, was kind of his co-host. They had the genius Lanny Poffo, who was hilarious.
Macho Man's brother.
They had Lance Hoyt. They had Kevin Gill from the PMA Power Hour is the name of his podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Kevin Gill show.
Yeah,
your boy KG.
Yeah, he was in a band called No Redeeming Social Value. He ran a record label back in the New York hardcore scene. What's the name of his record label? Do you remember?
Oh, shit.
We're going to think of it at 3 a.m. when we're trying to go to sleep.
Records. I don't know.
But anyway, so he's well known in the New York hardcore scene, but then he befriended Insane Clown Posse and started getting in on their wrestling stuff, and now he's like with them. So he's like, and all he talks about is positive mental attitude, which is my number one shit in the world. Keeping a good focus. So like, automatically I'm like, this guy, he knows Madball, which is one of my favorite bands. He's a good dude, PMA, so I'm cool with him. So he gets up there. They have Bobby Fulton from the Fantastics. Is that his name, Mondo?
Yes, Bobby Fulton.
He was good. Let's see. They had Brian Cage, who's in Lucha Underground. So it was a good podcast. It was really funny. They had some good jokes on there. Because like Colt Cabana, the thing that separates him from everybody else, if you don't know him, is he is a comedic wrestler. Like, he's the guy who trips over his own shoes, or like he'll like stumble over something and fall down and headbutt the opponent and knock him out, and then he'll stand up and be like, "Oh shit, I knocked him out!" So he's hilarious to watch, and he does really good matches. And he has a podcast where he interviews other people, and you get to see kind of the backstage area, like traveling and how it is, what it's like to be an independent wrestler wrestling in a fucking armory, for like 20 people.
SFT.
Strive
for Togetherness Records.
Strive for positive mental attitude, man. So that was great. After the show, Kevin Gill was walking around. I met him. He was super cool, really friendly. Like, at first I thought he was like, because he was in a hurry, but every time I thought he was trying to wave us off, he's like, well, I got to walk with these people. But hey, keep walking with me. Keep talking. I was like, okay. So we kept walking and we kept talking for like 20 minutes. And we're just like talking about music and all this other stuff. And so he's just super cool. And I was like, hey, before you leave, I actually want to buy one of your shirts. Because the shirt that he has, one of his designs is like, I don't know if you remember this, Shane, but back in the day, ECW had a shirt that said ECF and W.
Oh, yeah.
Well, his says PMF and A. Nice. And so that's like the coolest thing, the coolest shirt design you could have. So I was like, how much is it? Everybody else, $30, $35, $20. He's like, I'll give you this and this DVD for $15. And I was like, oh. this fucking guy.
You.
You're
good, you.
You always turn into Robert De Niro when somebody hooks you up like that, man. So and he ended up like I talked to him. He retweeted the thing that I sent to him on Twitter, and then I sent him a picture on Twitter of him on the Cabana podcast. He retweeted that and gave me like. He's like, taken by the Tengu Ninja, thank you so much. And I was like, holy shit. And then like all these people started following me. I was like, fuck. So now I got to hook up. I got Kevin Gill. I just got to get him my band's demo. So that was cool. He was friendly. And then we were like, okay, what are we going to do? Because the fucking con's about to be over with.
It was over with at that point.
Yeah, con was over with at that time. So that's when we went to the Hickory House. So I'm going to take a pee break and let Mondo and Clay tell it, and Shane can say funny, witty things about what they say. I'll be right back.
Well, to the credit of Clay Moore, he did some investigating on his phone to try to find a awesome barbecue joint akin to the area that we were in, and he found the Hickory House. And basically, the Hickory House is just like kind of like a dive restaurant / bar. They have a little bar, sell beer, sell food, and it was just like classic Dallas. It was in the ghetto. It was actually maybe like less than a mile away from where we were parked at.
Probably like a half mile.
And we didn't want to leave a parking place because we paid a lot for it.
Right.
So we just walked there in the ghetto, walking through construction, the freaking bridges and stuff. And we finally get there, and they got cold beer, and they got barbecue, and
It was pretty good.
I got some. They were in Texas, so I mean, steers are obviously popular. Beefs and popular in
Right.
Texas, so their barbecue is going to be more like the beef variety as opposed to like pork. But they did have like what they call pulled pork or whatever too. But and they had freaking Lone Star beer, which was awesome.
Wow.
So I got
You finally got
I
it.
finally got some.
Finally
So
got
we got some Lone Stars and ate some brisket, and Evan didn't get pot roast. I was proud of him. Fucking Clay got this fucking massive meat plate with
It had
every
4
meat
kinds
on
of
the
meats.
And I will say this. The Texas barbecue is totally different than Georgia barbecue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because, like, I just ordered the pulled pork with the sauce, and what else did I get?
Just like some sides and shit.
Did you take fucking notes on what you ate?
No, I took a picture of it. 'cause I know
Oh,
what
okay.
I remember. It was like it was barbecue, mashed potatoes, the Texas toast. Hold the fuck up. Texas toast is supposed to be toast that's fucking huge because it's from Texas, right?
It's bigger than normal toast. It's thicker.
I ordered Texas toast in Texas. Look at the size of this shit, Shane. It's smaller than a bowl of fucking mashed potatoes. Those fucking dicks. How dare you? We're from Georgia. You're supposed to wow us with your gigantic fucking toast. So I got that. I got some green beans, some corn. But the barbecue sauce was like super spicy.
It was not. I didn't find it spicy.
I mean, in comparison to like regular barbecue sauce, more normal barbecue sauce from us here is going to either be vinegary, mustardy, or sweet or smoky. But theirs was spicy. So I was like, holy shit. And it kind of had a fruit flavor to it, too. I don't know what all was in it, but it was an interesting
Fruit
barbecue.
Loops.
Yeah, Fruit Loops. And did you guys mention how nice the waitress was?
Yeah, Jeanette.
Yeah.
The greatest person in Dallas.
Yes.
The only person that doesn't suck. In
We
Dallas.
love you, Jeanette. You were so nice to us Georgia boys.
But yeah, we walked in there. There was these older dudes sitting there drinking beer, and I'm like thinking they're gonna see my big happy ass with all these fucking tattoos, and they're gonna wind up fucking beating their ass or something like that.
They were super friendly. As soon as I walked through the front
Yeah.
door, they could tell I'd never been there before, and they were like, "Go on in through the front door, make a right, and grab you a cold one."
Yeah, that was like the one nice place was a barbecue joint.
Yeah, it was like finally a place that I don't feel like people are being dickheads.
And you know that you're in a choice establishment when you have to go through the kitchen to get to the bathroom.
Yep.
And there was like a secret compartment back there.
Yeah,
too.
there was like a little date room with a fucking flower pot and the one table, and there was like gambling machines, and it's like, oh, this is the cool clubhouse. This is where the normal customers go to.
And they had like the ultimate
clothes.
man's bathroom. They had baseball cards on the wall. Then they had this Mylar, like old school Mylar balloon for the Texas Rangers, and this fucking baseball, like aluminum baseball bat that's obviously been taken off that wall several times.
Yeah, with it a couple
The
times.
Peacemaker.
Yeah. So we ate there, and that was great.
Walk back.
Walked back.
I lost my fucking cigarettes.
Yeah.
We bumped in, walking back to the car, we bumped into, for fans of Cheech and Chong, Blind Lemon Chitlin.
Yeah.
He was a homeless man on the streets, and what did he say to you, Mondo?
You got some food. You got some food.
Well, that's when we went back to the hotel, and we were leaving the hotel. That's when he was out there asking for change and stuff like that.
And then like he asked Mondo for like money so he could get food. Well, then he asked me for money, and he's like, "If you got $1, I got some chicken."
Yeah,
That's what it was. So you got food.
Yeah. So that was the end of the WrestleCon experience. We decided to go back to hotel because Mondo and I had bought tickets to Jim Ross's one-man show later on, and Clay wanted to watch the Hall of Fame. So we go back.
And get drunk.
Yeah, and drink beer.
And drink beer.
I kind of want to drink beer right about now.
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
So Mondo's taking a shit, and I'm like, I'm going to walk across the street and go to 7-Eleven and get myself a Slurpee. Anybody want anything? Mondo says, get me an apple juice. I was like, okay, I'll get you an apple juice.
I'm like, I got all the fucking Mott's apple juice I need. It's called Miller Lite.
Yeah, it's oat sodies, brother. Yeah, oat sodies. So I walk over there, and the fucking Slurpee machine's broken. I say, fuck. Shit. So I walk back inside, and I was like, time to commit a crime. And I stole Mondo's car because he was shitting and he couldn't stop me. Yeah. So like immediately I go on Facebook. I'm like, I'm in Texas. I've stolen my friend's vehicle, and I'm going to buy a Slurpee. So I'm like taking all these incriminating evidence photos, making fun of all the dumbasses on Twitter. It's like 15 retweets if you want me to jump behind the counter. So I like go in there, I take a picture of the Slurpee machine, I drink the Slurpee and all this other shit. And I come back and Clay's gone out. He's like smoking. He gets his beers and stuff. And so me and Mondo get together and we head out to the House of Blues. And
House of.
Let me just say. Normally, I am not one to complain about food service because I understand it is a very difficult job. But the whole House of Blues experience could be equated to having your balls pulled out and smashed with a hammer. Because you get fondled on the way in, you can't carry backpacks, you can't carry hand sacks. Like you're just going to go in there and shoot up the place paying money to see the guy that you love, or you're going to steal their fucking bottles of soda or whatever the fuck they do.
You are in Dallas where that did happen to Dimebag.
That was in Arlington, wasn't it?
Doesn't matter. It's all the same.
It's a different town.
Same vicinity, kind of.
Dude, JFK got shot on the streets of Dallas.
We didn't even go to the grassy knoll.
There you go. I know that's lawyered right there. You're not getting to carry a bag into a club.
Yeah,
You're lucky they let you carry a bag into WrestleCon.
But getting there was a different story altogether because it was just like a downtown Dallas is a fucking clusterfuck right now because they're doing all sorts of fucking construction. So we basically fucking go like take the wrong direction like 6 times. Then we finally get where we need to be, and we drive fucking past it. So we got to do it all again. And we park, and my dumb ass doesn't know how to feed the fucking ticket meter, so that lasts about 5 minutes. Then we get there and get to go in, and they tell us we can't take bags, and we both had bags, so we had to go back to the fucking car. Fucking old man Winter was out there asking for fucking change. He asked me for change twice.
Yeah.
I gave him change because I'm just that sort of dude. Then we walked back. He's like, hey, can you spare some change? I was like, not anymore. I just gave you something.
Yeah, I was like, dude, he just gave you change like a minute ago.
Buy me a bird.
And we go inside, and like, so I'm like, what the fuck ever? Because when I bought the tickets online, it was supposed to be balcony. Then I get there, and it's like standing room only. So I don't know how the fuck that happened. So I was like, fuck, I don't get to sit down and order my steak. Shit. So I go over to the bar. First, I walk over, and I was like, cool, some seats. And they're like, this is the VIP area. I was like, cool, what is it, like $20? They're like, well, that table over there that you're going to share with 5 other people is $75 per person. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's okay.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, but that one lady was the nicest person there. She's like, I know it's expensive. I'm sorry, but you can go over there and order food at the bar, and nobody's usually standing over there. So just go over there. I was like, thanks. You're nice and hot. I'm gonna walk over there. So I walk over and I go to the bar. And that's where it fucking happened. That's where the whole fucking story goes down there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, these fucking assholes. These pieces of human fucking shit.
He has one bad experience with food at a place.
Let me tell you, that fucking bartender treats me like I'm a piece of shit on the bottom of a fucking loafer. And I said, okay, I look on the menu. Double cheeseburger, nothing on it. You got some fancy ass French fries with fucking cauliflower and fucking peppers and fucking Parmesan cheese. I say, no joke. I was like, I would just like some regular French fries. And she's like, we don't make regular French fries.
What the fuck?
How do you...
I was like, okay. You know those fucking fried potatoes where you put the shit on them? Give me those.
Yeah.
You dumbass.
I know that she knew that, but she was insulted that I wasn't snooty enough to order her stupid fucking French fries.
That's so dumb.
That's hilarious.
We don't make Yes, you do. Yes, you do before you put the shit on it. That's called regular French fries.
Exactly. So I ordered that, and I'm like, just order the fries and then say no Parmesan and no pepper. She's like, well, I guess I can do that, but I don't know if he's going to do it. And I was like, well, okay, shit. Don't bust your fucking back for me, asshole.
I don't know if he will do it.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck am I?
I'm not even asking you to do something. I'm asking you to not do something.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, and I'll take a water with that. And so she rings it up, and it's like $16. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, I've already ordered it. Fucking, I'm hungry. It's going to be fine. So then she orders the food, and like I'm standing there waiting, and it's a bar, so people are coming back. She's like, you're going to need to step away from the bar because people want to order drinks. And I was like, this fucking bitch is about to get eaten. You don't bring me fries, I'm going to eat your face. Like, I was about to turn into Venom. I'm going to eat your brain. Remember that little fucking action figure you press the button?
I do.
So like, I'm flipping out. So I'm like, what the fuck? I've ordered my food. I'm standing here. I got before these other assholes are sitting there drinking their one drink, holding their fucking spot, but I can't get my fucking burger. So I'm getting hot, man. I'm about to have a... So she walks over to me like 5 minutes later. She's like, they messed up your burger. It's going to be a few more minutes. And at this point, it had been like 20 minutes.
They messed up your... How do they mess up a burger with nothing on it?
And might I add, when she brought my fries out, she brought me the bullshit fancy-ass French fries. And I was like, fuck it, I'm hungry, I'll eat your bullshit-ass French fries. Which were okay.
Bullshit.
Bullshit-ass, super rich, snotty, fucking Donald Trump voting French fries. Fucking
Making fries great again.
upper echelon CEO business outsourcing fucking illegal worker French fries. Fox News French fries.
So in other words, they need to change the name from House of Blues to House of Blows.
Yes. So like anyway, so I'm like, you know what? Just give me a refund back. She's like, well, I'm gonna have to get the manager to refund your money back. And it took everything to be like, well, I'm sorry to bother you doing your fucking job. I understand it gets stressful. You have to deal with drunk people all day, and we're going to get into that in a minute. So anyway, she gives me the money back. She's like, I only charge you for the fries. And I was like, okay, cool. She charged me $6 for bullshit-ass wrong French fries. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be a dick. I'll leave you a tip because it's the right thing to do, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to watch Jim Ross, and I'm going to have a good time.
Wrong.
This is a piece of paper. It's just like, here's your tip. What's this say? Stop being a bitch.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. It takes a lot for me to get that worked up, you know? Apparently I have a look on my face. Side story. Me and Mondo and Jacob and Clay tried to go to Wild Wing Cafe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And like apparently, like so, like the lady was like, "It's full." I was like, "Well, can we sit outside?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." So she sits us down with all of our menus.
She said you could sit outside. She never said a motherfucker was going to
Yeah, she's like, "You
She
sit
didn't
outside."
guarantee the other part.
So we sit down, and it's been like 10 minutes. And I'm looking over the thing. I was like, "Okay, I know what I want. It's cool." So we're sitting around. 20 minutes later, I'm just sitting there thinking, "Where the fuck is our waitress?" And Clay's like, "Uh-oh." Evan's got that look on his face. I was like, I have a look on my face? What the fuck is the look on my face? So apparently I'm just sitting there and I'm looking like I'm about to strangle somebody. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we go to Buffalo Wild Wings?
And I'm like, no. Because I'm not a huge fan of Buffalo Wild Wings. Because I always fuck my fucking order up.
Yeah, we call that stewing up. He was stewing up.
I was just sitting there. I was suppressing the demon that was boiling inside of me. So anyway, so we wait for the Jim Ross show to start. And it was great. the Jim Ross experience of the one-man show is awesome. He's really funny. He's got great stories. Mondo is not exactly the biggest fan of his impressions.
Yeah.
But I love him. So he's yucking it up. He's being funny on stage. And all of a sudden, the drunk squad awakens. Standing behind us. It's like 15 stockbrokers from Boston.
Probably eat bullshitting ass fries.
Eating their bullshit rich white people fries.
Drinking fucking $10 beers that you can go to Kroger and get for a fucking $1.
Yeah. So, like, it's just like, this is the fucking best night we have ever had, and fuck anybody who thinks otherwise. Yeah! So we're just like, Jesus Christ. And like Jim Ross would be talking and they would try to say something funny over him, but nobody would think it's funny, so we're just like, just shut the fuck up already. You paid to see this, just watch it. So we're sitting there and everything's going fine. And then the secret guest comes out. Rob Van Dam.
Oh, nice.
However, there were other guests, but Rob Van Dam is only half of the first guest. The second half of the first guest was drunk Rob Van Dam, who was outstanding. And as soon as he came out, fucking stockbroker squad exploded. He is the fucking best wrestler, and fuck you if you don't like that. You don't understand. Fuck all of you. So
they just, no matter what happens, they just say fuck everybody.
Yeah, and they're over there and they're just like yelling and they're asking questions and stuff and like trying to do the show, and these guys just won't shut the fuck up. So all of a sudden they have like this bro motivational speech fucking power session. And it's like, bro, it's time to get the whiskey, bro. Yeah, I'm going to take the shot, bro. You got to wait, bro. Come on, bro. Let's go right now. Right now, bro. Go, bro. Go, bro. Go. So all of a sudden this guy like runs up to the stage. It's like, Rob fucking Van Dam. Here you go. And he's like, hey, all right. I didn't know I was getting shots. All right. So he just fucking takes a shot. And all of a sudden, like, everybody, like, in the fucking bro squad are, like, flipping out. And then Rob Van Dam's like, hey, you got any more? That was the end. The rest of the night, these guys are screaming through the whole fucking show, running back and forth.
Of course they're screaming at the whole fucking show. What are you talking about?
Pun intended. Thank you. The whole fucking show, running back and forth, like, talking over people. And we're just like, just shut the fuck up. If you want to take them drinks, that's great, because they're enjoying it. And, like, they're up there and they're getting drunk. And then eventually, thank goodness, the MC guy who was asking the questions was like, man, you guys need to calm the fuck down. And they were like, whatever! And then they left. So we were like, okay. And they were like, great. Then 5 minutes later, they came back and I was like, motherfucker, shit!
That is one experience I'm glad I did not go to.
And let me tell you, the more drunk that Rob Van Dam got, the funnier he was. Because he'd just be like, I don't even give a shit. Fuck that guy. So, like, they were walking around asking questions, and my question, because they were screening questions, and mine made it by. I was like, I love both of you guys. Thank you for what you've done, but you've both been all over the world. What's the funniest language barrier situation you've ever had? And Jim Ross was just like, sucky, you know, just some joke like that. And then Rob Van Dam tells a story that was almost something that happened the same way to me in Japan. He was over there with, what was the big blonde wrestler that he was talking about, Mondo? The guy with the dyed blonde hair. He's in the West Texas Rednecks.
Oh, Bobby Duncombe Jr.
Bobby Duncombe Jr. So he's like, yeah, so we're just, we're walking around. And I got this bleached blonde fucking guy with a fucking trench coat on. And he has the gall to walk up and say, we're not from here. In Japan! And it's like, that's a good point. If you saw a guy 5 times your size who's a blonde American, you need him to tell you that he's not from there. So, like, he's like, what we would do is we would try and go on cabs. And Bobby Duncombe didn't speak a lick of Japanese. So we go up to the cab drivers and be like, we want to go to Tokyo. And the cab drivers would go, nai. Which is the same fucking shit that they said to me when I was asking them to take me to the Black Pig because I was pronouncing shit wrong in the fucking hooker district. So I was like, I know what he means. So, like, he'd walk up and be like, can we get in this taxi? And they go, night. He'd be like, Rob, I got us a taxi. And they would just get in the taxi after they said no to him already. And they'd just be like, well, we told them no. And they would just fucking go. And it's like, oh, that's so great. And there was a couple of really good questions and answers and stuff. And they talked about, what all questions and answers? Do you remember what they were asking?
It was like pretty much basic stuff. I don't really remember any verbatim. And even if I did remember all the questions, they would be totally wiped out of my mind because I know you've heard of this lady, but the world famous Big Boobs McGee was alive and well in Texas. The Big Boobs McGee was there. And let me tell you, sir, she was there in all her freaking glory. And I was marking out over them titties, boy.
Mondo is such a good friend. He would like elbow me. He's like, she's turning to the left and her boobs would be like,
because we only got like the side view, but every now and then she would talk to her friend. So when she talked to her friend, she would turn this way, and it was just like Cleavage City, baby.
So that was great. And then the surprise special guests showed up, which were Jeff Hardy, Hurricane, Shane Helms. Who's the other one?
I think that was it.
That was it.
Just those two?
Yeah, that was it.
So
I kind of felt like it was somebody else too, but I think that was it.
So they come out there, and Jeff Hardy was acting like he just walked out of fucking Hot Topic in 1997, and just like acting like a new metal guy. It was weird.
Well,
He's
he
like,
had just wrestled a match with Pentagon Jr.
So he would have been geared up.
Yeah, he still had his makeup on and shit. Actually, the WrestleCon that we went to, the end of the night, they had their little supercard thing where there's all these high profile matches, but it was sold out, so we couldn't go. So after he did his match, both of them came over, and he still had his makeup and shit.
But yeah, so they did that, and they were asking questions. It was pretty funny watching drunk Rob Van Dam talk to the other two guys, and drunk Jim Ross, and they were having good interactions and stuff. Well, my favorite moment of the night, of the whole night, was they were talking about. So are you guys? They were basically asking the question: are you guys going to watch WrestleMania? But the way that the guy phrased it's like, are you guys going to worship at the temple tomorrow? And everybody's like, yeah! And Sugar Shane Helms, correct me if I'm wrong, Mondo, he goes, brother, there's only one temple that I worship at. Vagina! And like me and one other guy out of 300 people laughed. Yeah. And I was like, it's honest. He's bearing his soul for this question and answer project. But anyway, so that was good. And then, so they did that and we booked out and we stopped by a 7-Eleven on the way back and we got some shit. And Mondo was backing, was it that night or was it the next day? The morning?
I don't remember.
So this might have been the next morning, but
It was. God damn it, Evan!
there's two more Mondo stories we have to tell.
Before he tells this, I can't remember going back to Jim Ross thing. I can't remember what Jim Ross said, but Jim Ross said something fucked up, and Shane Helms quotes the greatest hurricane line ever. He says something fucked up, and Shane Helms goes, "What's up with that?"
Yeah, that was really good. I forgot about that.
But yeah, tell the fucking story. God damn it.
So we're like backing out of the 7-Eleven to go back to our hotel room that night.
I was tired as fuck, y'all.
And so Mondo doesn't realize that there's this car. I didn't see it either. So this car like flies by us and honks on the horn. And instead of honking, Mondo keeps backing up and he goes, ah, honk! And like does a panic honk on the fucking wheel. And I was like, why did you honk at the person instead of stopping the car? It's like, I don't know! I panicked!
I was tired. I wasn't drunk tired. I was fucking tired. So nothing was fucking working at all.
So that's all good to go. So we get all ready to go the next day. There's like this. We decided we wanted to stop by this big truck stop Walmart place. I thought it was called Busey's.
Busey's.
Oh, wow.
Bucky Beavers.
Yeah, I was like BUC-EE. I was like, cool, Busey's. And what was the mascot?
Bucky Beaver.
Bucky Beaver. So we get there, and this place is the biggest fucking truck stop I've ever seen. They had like...
It's the Walmart of truck stops.
It was the Walmart of truck stops. And it was like they had just like fucking. When you go to a gas station in the country, you see like praline pecans, pecan divinity, red rope licorice. Well, they had like sections, walls of those things, and it's like you can get red rope licorice flavored taffy, you can get chocolate flavored taffy, you can get sugar free red rope licorice chocolate flavored taffy. And I'm like, God damn, this place fucking rules. So we're just going crazy and having a good time in there, and it's like
not Mondo.
Yeah. So there's 3 Mondo stories, and then me and Clay are looking at the candy like the little fat asses we are, and then Mondo walks over and tells us this story.
Man, it never fails, dude. Anytime I'm rolling, people are constantly hating me. I'm rolling, they hating. That's how life works for me. Well, 2 things I wanted to do before we got out of Texas. One, I just wanted to find a generic Texas T-shirt that said "Don't mess with Texas."
Nope.
Couldn't find one there. If it was some generic freaking bullshit ass country artist named fucking Zach Williams or something, I would have been able to find
Zach
one.
Ryder.
But this Zach's keep fucking up my fucking weekend, man. But so I couldn't find that. So then I'm like, okay, well I'll just go over here and see if they by chance have some Lone Star, and they did. They had a 6-pack of 16 ounces. Then they had like 12 packs and 24 packs.
Yeah, cases.
So I'm gonna just I want to grab one to take them back home so we can enjoy it here. So I walk up to the attendants. There are 2 attendants, and I was like, "Hey guys, I noticed you guys have Lone Star beer. I'm traveling. I'm about to go back to Georgia, and I want to get some Lone Star, but I don't want to take it cold. Can I just get like a unrefrigerated,
a warm
box?
pack?
Yeah, warm pack, a hot box or whatever."
Hot box.
And they were like, so you don't want it cold, you want it warm? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, we have those, but I don't know if we can sell them or not. And another thing too, we can't sell beer until after 12 o'clock. And I look at my clock, and it's fucking 11 o'clock their time.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm like thinking, there's no way. We gotta get our fucking asses back to Georgia. There's no way we're gonna waste a fucking hour on some fucking beer. And I was like, man, you just can't, like, since I'm traveling, you just can't go ahead and do it. And he's like, nah, man, I can't do it. But I will tell you a funny story. One time, me and my good buddy Willie Nelson was traveling to Tennessee, and matter of fact, I think we went through Georgia. But before we went on the trip, we stopped and we got a couple of suitcases of Lone Stars, and as a matter of fact, it was on a Sunday, and it was after 12 o'clock when we bought them. And I'm like, you fucking asshole.
That was it for the store. We were out of there after that.
I was like, fuck this shit.
Wow.
I got this fucking $7 deer sausage and fucking chocolate milk because I'm a perpetual fucking 5-year-old and had to drink fucking chocolate milk with everything. Remarkably enough, I didn't fucking shit my ass off.
I would have asked that guy if he was drunk when he went to get the suitcase of Lone Stars, because how the fuck did he go from Texas to Tennessee and go through fucking Georgia? Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you fucking retard?
Yeah.
No wonder you work as a cashier. You can't fucking do anything else.
Shane Tipton is available for birthdays, job interviews, graduations, first dates. Anytime you need to say the fucking perfect thing. But I forgot to mention some. This was earlier on Saturday, but when Mondo and I were taking a break from Ring of Honor, like before we were like, awesome, there's a little coffee shop, we'll get some iced coffees and some food. So we go in there, and as we're walking in, we see fucking Milky. Milky is from the Talking Shop podcast. He's kind of like the guy who runs, he's part of the owners of WrestleMerica, which
WrestleMerica.
He actually originally was the WrestleMerica guy. Then he got to be friends with Luke Gallows, and it kind of took off from there.
Yeah, and Luke Gallows and him run these events here locally
with
around
Marty
Georgia.
Miller, who's another guy.
Yep.
And like he's seen us a couple times before, and like he's always on the podcast, and they always break his balls. So I was like, Mondo's like, dude, it's Milky. So I walked over, I was like, hey, Milky, in the Luke Gallows voice, and he's walking with this super hot girl. He's like, baby, did you hear that? They called me Milky. They called me Milky. They know who I am. Yeah. And she's just walking by. She's like, uh-huh. And she just walks on inside. She's like, and she just walks on inside, and then so we're like marking out, talking to him, and he's super cool. He's still a normal dude, you know. He's still just a normal dude. So we're talking about Gallows and the Bullet Club and the show, and he's telling us about upcoming stuff and booking, and it was really cool to meet somebody that was that popular and see him still get excited that he's getting recognized, which means he's still a normal dude. And then his hot ass girlfriend came back over, and she was just like looking around, and I was like, yeah, cool. And every time they both looked the opposite direction, I'd look right at her tits.
Yeah. and to keep it kayfabe, I do have to admit, even though he's a cool guy, he had some pretty bad Stizink Brizeth. Yeah. Like really, like super freaking bad.
Glad I was standing on the other side.
Yeah, I noticed everything, dude.
Yeah.
Including the big old titties.
One other story, because this was when we were actually on the way there, but fucking Evan over here doesn't realize that we're riding in Mondo's XB, and like it doesn't have aerodynamics and those things are shit.
It's a box. It is a fucking box.
That's why it's called the XB. It's called the Xbox.
Yeah.
So we're riding, and all of a sudden Evan thinks this is he sees something that he feels he's got to yell out and he's sitting there going, and, dude, the whole front end of this car is just.
We're about to fucking
die. And like Mondo's like, hey, you gotta roll that back up. And I'm sitting there just laughing my ass off.
And there's fucking papers flying around. There's a tornado in the fucking vehicle.
The thing is,
and you were there, Auntie M, and you as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like blah blah blah, having fun, not even noticing.
Yeah, Toto was there too because there was a whole bunch of dog shit going on. But the thing about XBs, they're pretty much just like they're made like a freaking box. The only aerodynamics is in the freaking chopped roof. But
not when you let that window down.
When you let that window down, it creates this freaking vacuum in the freaking car.
It's just like,
dude, and the wind was like, were we going over a bridge?
No, we were on the interstate.
Yeah, we were hauling ass. So all this fucking arrows coming in,
and it's like all going in this perfect circle.
And I'm just like thinking, my fucking windshield is about to fucking explode.
And me being the jolly dumbass I am, I'm yelling at this trucker.
Yeah.
I'm yelling at a trucker, and he's like, "Look at that stupid motherfucker making jokes," and I'm like, "Ha! I made him laugh." But
I think later on, Evan got why I freaked out so much. But at the time, he was thinking that I was a complete dumbass.
I was like, why did I get in trouble?
Like a fucking dog. Why did you do that?
Yeah. I was like, I want to roll the window, but I want to get in trouble again. Like I didn't understand, but then they explained. I was like, oh, okay.
But basically, if you roll one window down, you got to roll all of them so the air flows.
So the car don't explode.
Yeah. But yeah, that scared the shit out of me. Because I'm already thinking we're on the road and I don't want to fucking die in Mississippi.
And it's just like.
Dude, the whole car was like moving like this.
And that was
looking horrible.
Like yelling this crazy shit out the window.
I'm like, we're in Mississippi. That lady's thirsty. Get that Mississippi cup. Ha 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 ha. And he's like, that stupid motherfucker. Ha ha.
I'm sitting there dying, laughing up front.
And I thought we were going to be dying.
And there's just chaos and pandemonium around me.
But okay, so last Mondo story that I can remember. We stop at this like little gas station because we had to piss really bad. It was a truck stop. I think it was a Love's. And
where you can get love in the parking lot.
But I will say, to his defense, we had been staying in places. Well, I'm going to get to that later. So he's in the bathroom. I'm in the bathroom. I finished peeing. I'm washing my hands. I'm already done. Mondo walks up. And his hands are underneath the faucet doing this. And he's waiting.
God damn it.
And I'm looking at him with his hands under the faucet, and I noticed that there's a big fucking faucet handle that he hasn't moved. So I'm like...
In my defense, the day before...
Everywhere we had been to had automatic.
We were in a nice-ass fucking hotel... And I'd been drinking beer and water, so I was peeing a whole bunch. Now, I wash my hands constantly anyway, because that's just one of my weird things I do. I wash my hands probably like 60 times a day, and because I used to be like a CNA and stuff, and they teach you about the proper ways of cutting down on germs and stuff. I go overboard with that. I wash my hands as often as I fucking can. Mm-hmm. So I was going in there, and you put your hands under the faucet, and there's a sensor.
Right.
So in my mind, the same thing was going on here.
And I'm sitting there and I'm laughing at Mondo, and he's like, "What the fuck's so funny?" I was like, "You didn't even turn it on yet." Yeah. And he's like, "Shut the fuck up! Don't you tell anybody." So immediately I'm like, click. Let me tell you something funny. Mondo's stupid. He didn't turn on the watch. He was trying to wash his hands. He didn't even turn it on yet.
It was obvious that there was not a sensor there because he said, "Shut the fuck up." Otherwise, it'd be like, "Shut the fuck up," and the water would have come on.
But it was perfect. It was serious, not exaggerating. He was moving his hands under the thing for a good 3 to 5 seconds before he even noticed me laughing.
Give me that water.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
Give me that Mississippi water.
Yeah. But yeah, and we stopped at Jack in the Box, had their breakfast. They have an excellent iced coffee. And
that food there sucked.
What did you get?
I just got chicken strips, man.
Strips? Yeah, he was let down by the fries because they tasted. I told them they tasted exactly like Arby's, but they didn't want to believe
me. They needed to have fucking Arby's sauce.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a breakfast croissant, and it wasn't really that great. But
it's because it wasn't the Burger King croissant.
Yeah.
Tender, flaky, fuck! Flaky, buttery crust.
But once you get done, I have the ultimate Mondo story that you guys don't even know about.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So let's see. We ended up leaving. We left there about 11.
Yeah, it was about 11 o'clock.
Got back to Macon 3 a.m.?
Yep.
Yeah. Because we stopped a couple of different places. But I think that's everything, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, on the way home, I drove a whole bunch, and we stopped at a wonderful Bojangles in Alabama, and it was great. In Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The attendant was really nice and stuff, and she said she'd worked at some different places in Georgia. Well, Evan decides, he's going to drive or whatever, but Evan's got a jacked up knee. So he drives for like a couple hours, and we stopped to get gas. And I was sitting in the back, and I was just getting, I don't know if I was just fatigued or what, but I normally don't get like motion sickness. But I was in the back, and I was about getting ready to fucking barf everywhere. And I was tired as fuck. I was like, dude, let me drive. And he's like, okay. So he goes back there. So I think I might have told Clay this, but I haven't told Evan. So I'll be the bigger man and fucking bust one on myself. Which I'll probably be doing later too. But so we get gas or whatever. I fill the gas tank up and we go home. Like next day I was off that following Monday, so I didn't do much. I just hung around. Tuesday I get in my car, and when I turn my car on, I see a check engine light and a traction light comes on and stuff. And I was like, motherfuck. Just like I would figure. I go on this long fucking trip, now I'll come back and my fucking car is going to explode. So, I start driving out of my driveway, and I'm parked right by my mailbox. I looked into my side view mirror, and I noticed that the door for my gas tank is open. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I get out of my fucking car, and I go, and the fucking gas cap is missing. So apparently, when I pumped gas the night before, I was so out of it, I just pumped the gas, hung the fucking gas tank back to the fucking tank, and just got into the fucking car and then put my fucking gas tank cap in. So I go to fucking O'Reilly's, get a gas cap, and plus they had a sign up there that said they do tests for check engine lights. And I was like, I need to get a gas cap, and I need to run a test because I got my check engine light on the dash. And the dude was like, well, to be perfectly honest with you, if you lost your gas cap, that's probably why the check engine light's coming on, because there's air that's gotten to your gas tank, and sometimes it trips the sensor. And yeah, that's what it wound up being. But yeah, my big old dumb tired ass forgot to put a fucking, after all we had been through, I forgot to put the fucking gas cap on the fucking gas tank. Classic.
Yeah. I think
total moron.
That's about it. So all in all, we stayed at a really nice hotel. We got tickets. All the tickets were pretty cheap. The NXT was $35. Access was $50. I think Hall of Fame was $30 starting out, right?
It was 29, yeah.
$29.
Yeah.
WrestleMania, what were the
18.
general 18?
Yeah, with cheap tickets.
So as you can see, it's not very expensive to do this. So if you guys want to go next year, fucking go. It's worth it. WrestleCon was how much did it cost to get in?
It was $40.
$40 to get in. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. The road trip is fun because you just get to hang out with your buddies and, as you hear, make fun of each other and tell jokes. And that in and of itself is just fun. And it's
Anthony Clemson.
oh my god. So we found out that when Clay Moore drinks Pib Extra or 4 Dr. Peppers, he turns into a very hateful man named Anthony Clemson. And as we were driving through
I
Alabama,
need fucking beer.
he turns into Anthony Clemson and just starts talking about Bear Bryant, who I have no idea who the fuck he's talking about. I thought it's just some character he made up.
No.
So he's talking about the history of all this football stuff, and unfortunately there's a lot of really bad swear words, like worse than we normally use. So I can't actually put the video up, and there's some bad stuff. But
Yeah, it's pretty intense. It's pretty wordy.
so tell us a little bit about Anthony Clemson. Tell us how he works.
He's just kind of a piece of shit. I mean, like, when you think of, like, crust punk train hopper, take that times 10, you get Anthony Clemson.
So this is what you do. You need to buy all the Mr. Pibb Extra you can, Pibb Extra, excuse me, and you need to give it to Clay. And then you just kind of wait about 30 minutes.
Anthony Clemson will show up. They'll be like, I fucked your mother yesterday with a whole pint full of I can't believe it's not butter as lubricant.
And it's like, where the fuck did that come from? And he's like,
Anthony Clemson.
Anthony Clemson.
Anthony Clemson.
and it's amazing. And when you hear that, I was like, I don't ever want him to leave. I just want him to keep talking.
All
That's
right.
how I'm ordering beer tonight, is as Anthony Clemson.
Oh, God.
There's one thing that we got to bring up.
Uh-oh.
And this is probably the fun. Claymore is a funny motherfucker
He is.
anyway. He very clever. But the shit you fucking said about fucking young Evan Jones, the funniest shit ever. You will love this.
My
show.
original
Yeah.
plan was, all right, Evan's been cracking all these jokes and shit, and I'm like, fuck you after a while, you know? Like, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to get one on him. But everybody orders food at the same time, and, you know, like, I ordered last, so I figured, you know, well, me being impatient, I didn't sit down last. My original plan was I was going to sit over at another table, and I was going to be Evan from high school. Because, you know, Evan wasn't the guy you know today in high school. He was very much into black metal. I mean, he still is, but not as much as what he is back then.
Angry, satanic, hate the world, laugh at people who have life goals, fuck everybody, blood and death. Evan
Yep.
Jones.
So I plan on sitting over at this other table and going, I don't need friends. And then so that doesn't work because he sits down right across from me. I'm like, God damn it. So how can I twist this? So I decided to go Evan Jones from PE class in high school. And I was like, no, I won't go run a mile for you, coach.
I'd much rather sacrifice people's souls to Satan
And it went,
and watch their families
it
burn.
went on like that for a while, man. But
I was loving it, man, because I was such a piece of shit. I was so mean back then. Thank you guys for all being my friends still, by the way. Clay, not so much. You met me on the men, so you got the good stuff. But these two guys right here took the brunt of it. Me being
dude.
I remember
Mr.
like
Asshole.
one time I met you, and it was a long time ago. It was like Bentwood Skate Park days, and it's kind of a funny story because this guy's a complete piece of shit now. But I guess you knew his brother growing up, and it was this guy named A.J. Abrams, and he was like, "Well, my brother knew him or some shit," or I don't remember the exact fucking story. But he goes up to talk to you, man, and like you were just so shitty to him. It was hilarious, man. You were just like you had just played in Shigami and like just were like, I don't want to talk to this fucking fat weird kid. But it was hilarious because I didn't like AJ, like, hardly ever. I mean, we were friends, we played in a band together, but for the most part, I thought he was a piece of shit, but it was great, man.
Just a real quick story to give you guys an idea. When I was starting to become nice, when I wasn't as mean as I was, my idea of being nice was this. My band Shikami, we played at the Dublin College battle of the bands with like 5 Christian bands and us, and we're like super satanic, evil, just anti-Christian stuff. Not black metal, but just like angry at the whole Christian
Your
thing.
God is not my father.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there, and there are like girls that are like tearing up and looking scared, and their boyfriends are looking at me like they want to kill me, and I'm just staring at them. I'm like, your God is not my father. And they're just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I'm like staring at them like, please come over here.
Fuck you.
Just like, yeah. And I'm just so ready to just eat their lunch and fucking kick their mom down the hill.
You're like, have a great day.
Yeah, and this is me being nice, because before I'd just be like, what the fuck are you looking at? I'm gonna catch your family on fire. But man, people change, what can I say? But this is the longest podcast we've ever done.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
Which makes sense, because this was the longest WrestleMania ever, 7 hours. So I think it's fitting. Mm-hmm. The road to WrestleMania weekend ended up being like 2 hours and some change, I'd say about 2.5 hours now. So thank you for listening all the way through. Yeah. We got another episode coming up. We got a few more guests coming around. Let's see. Mondo, how do people get in contact with you on the interwebs? Throw out your shit.
Well, originally it was Bruiser Braswell on Facebook, but now it's Edward Braswell, which is my Christian name, my birth name.
Krishna.
So you can look up Edward Braswell. You see a
name.
picture of me with a pissed off look on my face. But yeah, you can hit me up on Facebook. I've got a Twitter at Bruiser Braswell. I don't use too much. And yeah, come see me at Hot Topic.
Clay?
Well, dude, it's real simple. It's like this. If you ever heard of this character named Clay, the Messiah of Hardcore More, and you're hearing him. But for real, man, if you're looking to hit me up, my personal page, it's just gonna say Claymore, or I have this other tag name we're not gonna get into, Shabazz Cornelius. Yeah, that's a way you can look me up, or just through either one of my bands, Another Day Above Ground or Grinchfinger, if you're into the metal sort of stuff.
And Shane, how do people get in contact?
I don't want to talk to any of you people.
Yeah. You do not get in contact with Shane.
I'll get in contact with you if I want to talk to you. How about that? Listen to the podcast. That's how.
No joke. One time Shane had this idea to make this ongoing joke where like he wanted me to like go up to people that I knew when they were talking about stuff and be like, Shane gives you his blessings.
Yes.
If that was going to be his gimmick, he would just say that.
That's the joke, because no one would know who the fuck I am.
And then I'd be like, remember Shane gave you his blessings? He's right there. They'd be like, wow, he's real tall. Something like that. But Shane, as we mentioned, lives in a cave off the grid.
He doesn't want to talk to you troglodytes.
Yeah.
But if you need somebody to say the perfect thing for everything that you need to do, he will take your money gladly, and you can contact me, and I'll contact him and see if he decides that you're worthy of his services.
And otherwise, what he's basically saying is fuck the fuck off.
Yeah, because he's going to be busy watching AKB48 variety shows.
I don't watch it anymore because all the people that I like aren't on there anymore.
So what do you watch these days?
I usually watch anime, really.
Hell yeah.
There's lots of anime.
Any good ones? What's some good ones? What you watching?
Well, one that's unexpected is Gate. Like I forget what it is. The Japanese Defense Force fought there. It's called Gate. And it's not what you expect, because where people go back into history, like swords and sorcery and stuff like that.
Okay.
They show up, like this gate opens up and they show up, and they're like raiding places. And like they just get wiped out by modern warfare. It's actually pretty interesting.
I'm sorry, Shane. I was trying to listen, but Clay Moore has taken my Ultimate Warrior pal, which he actually gave me, pal, and he put a water bottle between its legs and took its hands and started jerking it off, and then just looking at us and smiling.
What else would you do?
I don't think we can top it with a better ending than that. So thanks for your patience. We've got everything updated on our SoundCloud now. SoundCloud's the way that you can get all of our stuff. You go there, you can stream it. We have our RSS feed updated to iTunes, so you can get it there too. Of course, you can find us on YouTube. Look up Offenders Podcast on SoundCloud and YouTube. That's about it. We'll be back in a little while with some more stuff, and hopefully it won't be this long if you didn't like it, and if you did like it, maybe it'll be longer. Who knows?
Peace.
Suck it.